News at 2 o'clock. I'm Linda Sinclair. Good afternoon. There are suggestions Scots could face tougher COVID-19 restrictions around the new year amid concerns about the spread of the Omicron variant of coronavirus. People have already been urged to restrict who they see and defer office Christmas parties. Professor Jason Leach, the National Clinical Director, says it's better to act harder and early. The Scotland Office Minister Ian Stewart said big decisions may need to be made. He also said discussions have been taking place amid concerns from the hospitality sector about the financial impact of the recent COVID advice.
I know the effects that this is having on the hospitality and leisure industry. I spent much of Friday talking to people in that sector, and there are discussions happening this weekend about what the appropriate response will be to that.
The UK Government Health Secretary Sajid Javid has said he can't rule out more COVID restrictions being imposed in England before Christmas, insisting that nothing could be guaranteed in this pandemic. He estimated that 60% of new cases of coronavirus in England were of the Omicron variant and that it was a fast-moving situation. Labour said the government should stop dithering and set out its plans. Teaching unions calling for the reopening of schools in Scotland after the Christmas holidays to be delayed because of the Omicron variant. Seamus Searson, the General Secretary of the Scottish Secondary Teachers Association, said rising cases were already leading to staffing issues and the problem is expected to get worse in the new year. The Scottish Government has already said it's not considering national school closures. And a man has died following a single vehicle crash in Dumfries and Galloway. The 77-year-old was in a BMW X3 on the A74 near Echelfechan when the accident happened yesterday afternoon. Police are keen to speak to the driver of a white Luton-style box van which was seen in the area at the time. And turning to Scotland's weather, this afternoon will be largely dry. Cloud will continue to build in over eastern areas with sunshine becoming confined to the west. A few patches of mist and fog lingering and feeling cool. Highs of around just 2 to 5 degrees Celsius widely, but up to 8 for western areas and the Isles. That's your latest BBC Radio Scotland news.
Hibernian.
Message from the coaching staff will just be to make sure that they look forward to it.
Celtic.
The reality of it is a big game. You can't ignore that fact. You can't go into it and just say it's another game. It's not.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Martin Boyle has the chance to score a hat-trick, a first-half hat-trick in a League Cup semi-final against Rangers. Here he goes, right foot in, goal! Him starved, Boyle starved, and they're all but in the final now. You feel as Boyle slides over at the far side to celebrate. What a moment that is for him.
Enjoy it and they relish the opportunity because you never know when these opportunities might come up again. It's a privilege to play in cup finals, and as I say, there is only 2 teams left in this one that got a chance of winning.
When I joined this football club, that was the aim, and I was under no illusions that I had to bring success or try and bring success to this football club, and the first opportunity for that is Sunday. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure it'll be a great occasion. The atmosphere will be sensational, and giving the best of ourselves that we can on the day.
Jota's the afterburners on, he crosses into the box, brings back to Forrest, goal! James Forrest lashes Celtic into the lead just a few minutes after leaping off the subs bench. Final 10 seconds, and then the 10,000 Hibernian supporters will make some noise because Hibs are coming back to Hampden. They're into the League Cup final with one of their best performances, if not their best performance, under Jack Ross.
There's a lot of players in that dressing room that have won cups at the club. It's about using these experiences and making sure that the players are fully aware of what can be achieved.
In life, we all want things to run smoothly, but what I love about football is that it doesn't, and invariably in the big games, it definitely doesn't. But it's also there an opportunity to create something that's memorable.
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome indeed from me, Richard Gordon. We are at Hampden Park in the south side of Glasgow for the first major final of this season. Got the Commentary team all assembled, the pundits, the experts. We'll be hearing from all them. I'll introduce all them shortly, but let's quickly get down pitch side because right on cue, right at the start of the programme, Ange Postecoglou is live with Kenny McIntyre.
And let's start with the big news for Celtic fans who will be delighted to hear that Kyogo starts today. Was it a tough call?
No, not really. I mean, he's worked hard since his injury. I think he obviously didn't want to miss this game, and we've given him every chance. He trained yesterday, did everything fully, and ready to go.
For a manager, do you go on a game-to-game basis on that? Because you've got a tough run of fixtures coming up, haven't you?
Yeah, I think we've had to. We've had a tough run of fixtures leading into it, and it's worked well for us just to sort of address each game as it comes. And I'll pick a team we think will win us that game, and then we move on from there, and that's what we've done today. On the downside, James Forrest doesn't make it today. He's at a torrid time with injury, and we've seen fairly recently what a big player he is for this football club. Yeah, disappointing for him. Again, he's another one. He tried hard, but couldn't get through training yesterday. So, but as you said, we've got plenty of fixtures to go, and plenty of opportunities for James to make a contribution. What's training been like the past few days? I'd imagine quite a skip in the step given that late winner up at Ross County. That must have changed things perhaps, just there's a smile on faces. It was a long drive back, mate, so it took us a couple of days to recover. So, training was good yesterday. The boys were nice and bright, but to be fair, they've been like that all the way through. We've had some challenges in recent times, but our performances and our football's been good, and thankfully the results have followed. How are you feeling today? So how special this place can be when it's full in the semi-finals? A great performance that day. Yeah, it was a great occasion. Yeah, looking forward to it. I knew when I joined this football club that these are the expectations, but you also get the rewards of experiencing them. And looking forward to today. Looking forward to hopefully playing our football, and as I said, hopefully the players get their rewards. In terms of where you are on this journey, a big rebuilding job had to be done when you come in. Are you ahead of schedule? Second in the league, going well there, and into a National Cup final here this afternoon? Don't have a schedule. We just got to be better every time we get out there. And as to the players' credit, we've had to be pretty resilient through this first 5 or 6 months. The fact that we're in this position shows that the players are prepared to rise to the challenges before them, and we've got plenty coming ahead. So there's no schedule. All there is a will and a desire to be the best we can be and improve every day. What are you expecting from Hibs this afternoon? You saw in the semi-final, in a one-off game. I know their recent form hasn't been great, and disappointed Jack Ross is not here to sort of lead out his team today, because in that semi-final you saw a team that can cause any team problems, and it's a cup final. We're expecting a tough game today, and we've got to be on it. Expectations very high. We're surrounded here by lots of Celtic fans. Ange Postecoglou fan club right beside us here. They're expecting you to win today. They're the Celtic fan club, mate. I'm just a representative of the club, and they're here, and they've been great for us right from day one, and great for me from day one. They've been really supportive. It hasn't been a smooth ride so far, and they've had a fair bit of faith and belief. We've tried to give them hope, and hopefully it all culminates today. And just finally, what were your words to the players this morning? What will your final words be to them when they're running into this surface here at the National Stadium? Yeah, just to remind ourselves of what we have been through and what's got us here. As I said, it hasn't been an easy road. Celtic teams in the past have dominated and got to these competitions. We've had a different sort of journey. We've had a group of guys thrown together at the last minute and have overcome a lot of things, and we've done it our way. And I'm super proud of these players that they've not looked for excuses or made allowances for the fact that we're beginning this journey, and today's about getting their rewards. Thanks, Ange. Thank you, bud. Thanks, mate.
Ange Postecoglou, it is a first major final, of course, for him as Celtic manager. So live commentary to come. We've got Willie Miller and Tom English to provide an overview. The live commentary will be with Pat Bonner, Kenny Miller and Liam McLeod, and Liam can just confirm the team news for us ahead of this one.
Ange Postecoglou talking about it not being a smooth ride at the moment. Well, they're pretty smooth right now. 6 wins in a row, making it their best winning run under Postecoglou, and their best winning run actually coming into this since autumn 2020. Hibs got that morale boosting victory over Dundee during the week. We'll start with them because they are listed as the home team today, and just the one change from the side that beat Dundee, and we thought this would happen at the time of the injury to Chris Cadden. He doesn't make it, but Kevin Nisbet does. He had a problem on Wednesday evening, or Tuesday evening as it was, but he plays. So it's Macy in goal, McGinn, Porteous and Hanlon the back three, Boylan, Stevenson either side, with Doyle, Hayes and Newell in the middle, Campbell behind Murphy and Nisbet. The Hibs substitutes: Dabrowski, Doig, Wright, Doidge, Gogic, Allen, McGregor, Scott and Cadden, who does make the bench but not fit enough to start. For Celtic, they were here exactly a year ago just about in the 2020 Scottish Cup final. Just 3 of their starters today started that game. That was their last cup final at the end of that incredible decade of dominance. Joe Hart starts in goal. Anthony Ralston's dropped to the bench today. I'm not sure if there's an issue there. He's having a wonderful season. But Josip Juranovic will play over on the right-hand side. Greg Taylor on the left. Carter Vickers and Starfelt in the middle of that defence. Turnbull, Rogic and McGregor behind Abada and Mikey Johnston, who makes just his 3rd start of the season. No Jota, no Forrest, of course. But there is a boost for Celtic, as Kenny was touching on in the interview there. Kyogo Furuhashi has made it and will play through the middle. The bench is Bain, Scales, Beaton, McCarthy, Shaw, Montgomery, Ralston, Welsh and Moffat. The referee taking charge of his 2nd League Cup final is John Beaton.
Liam, thank you. He will be all set to describe the action as it unfolds from just on at 3 o'clock this afternoon. It is Hibernian against Celtic. It is the Premier Sports Cup final, the first major silverware to be handed out over the next few hours. Will it be to Hibernian? Will it be to Celtic? You'll find out right here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. Well, Liam rounded off with the Celtic team news there. Pat Bonner, let's start with you. Clearly, the big plus is Kyogo starts. The big question mark, is he fit enough to make it through the 90 minutes and provide the kind of impact that he generally does?
Well, we don't know if he's going to be 100% fit and will he last through it. That's for sure. We'll see as the game pans out. But certainly it's a huge confidence booster to the team. I'm sure the fans also reading and listening to us now, having that name on the team sheet for any group of players is huge because of the way he plays, because there's a goal in him, of course, but because of the high intensity that he plays. I just feel really sorry for Anthony Ralston, actually, that he's not gone into the team, considering what he has committed to this team this year and how he's performed. Obviously, of course, Juranovic has been bought to play that position and he's gone with him. So they're the couple of talking points, but I think it's just, it's a fairly strong. Jota's not fit, James Forrest's not fit, we know, but Mikey Johnson also coming into the team and being fit, that's an important one. So he can go and play as 4-3-3 as he likes to play, and there will be a high intensity from this team today, and they will want to try to control the game, control the ball. It'll be really interesting to hear the guys' views on how Hibs will come and play against them to try to stop them controlling the game, or will they sit back and be a little bit more defensive and hit them on the counter-attack? They're the questions today, Richard.
Well, yeah, there's loads of questions. Willie, just your thoughts in terms of that Celtic lineup. I mean, you think about the front line, if you like, against Ross County in midweek. Clearly it's much improved on that, and in fact any front line is improved, I guess, if Kyogo is included in it. Johnson and Abada providing the support to Furuhashi. I mean, clearly it's a very potent front three.
It is, Richard. Obviously with Jota not being available, then that's a huge blow, but getting Kyogo back and I don't think you take chances in a player like that, do you? I think obviously he's come through, he's training during the week, and the manager and the physio staff are confident that he can play a major part, and you expect him to play a major part in this game. I don't think there's any doubt about that, but it's a really good midfield as well, isn't it, when you're looking at McGregor, Turnbull and Rogic, who just keeps going, keeps scoring, keeps creating. He's been a magnificent player for Celtic. I think Ralston not playing is a huge shock, is it not, Pat?
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
Not getting the nod in an occasion like this after the season that he's had. So that's a blow for him personally, I would imagine. But you still feel with Celtic, although their defensive record's pretty good, but you still feel that is definitely the weakest part of their team, isn't it? In my opinion anyway, it's the weakest part. And now changes have been made in that area, and I'm sure that Hibs will be looking to try to take advantage, as they did against Rangers. They absolutely destroyed Rangers in the first half, or the Rangers defence in the first half. So it's a strong Celtic team, there's no doubt about it. They will go out here as favourites, but I won't go into the Hibs team, but that's looking like a very potent Hibs front three. I'm not too sure, will they play with the five? or will they go with a 4 and they play with a 3?
I think it'll be. Kenny was just talking about it, and he hasn't spoken yet, but I think it might be a 4. Actually, it could be a 4. But they can go either way, can they?
Yeah, I must admit, I had initially thought 4. Liam tells me that when they made the changes in midweek, it was to a 3. And that would presumably mean Stevenson on one side and Boyle on the other. Let's bring Kenny Miller in on that. You're thinking, Kenny?
Yeah, again, when you look at, when you see a Boyle, a Nisbet and a Murphy in the starting lineup, you would automatically think that'll be a front 3 of Boyle on the right, Nisbet on through the middle and Murphy on the left. Again, for 2 reasons of that for me. One, if you play Boyle as the right wing back, that is a far more defensive shift for him, and it might take a little bit of the edge off him going forward. And secondly, I wouldn't expect Murphy to be like that second striker either. I think Murphy's better wide area on the left. He can go both ways. He's really, really comfortable in that position. So if you did play with the wing backs, and by the way, they could maybe even have asked Murphy to go and do the right wing back and keep Boyle up front with Nisbet to be that threat that we did see in the semi-final against Rangers. So really intrigued to see which way they do line up, because if they go the back 3, I think you then have potential. If it's Boyle as the right wing back, that's him out of position, and for me Murphy's out of position as well. So I think you've got 2 of your most attacking players that are getting asked to do roles that's not their specialised role. So really intrigued to see how they go. I know it's pretty fluid. They could flip to a 4. If they needed to go back to a 3, they could easily adapt into that as well, and vice versa. So I think the main things are they've got their attacking threat on Boyle, they've got Nisbet, they've got Murphy. I think the midfield 3 has been excellent, despite the league form obviously not being great. I think Doyle, Hayes, Newell and Campbell are a very strong midfield 3, and we've seen them a month ago against Rangers. They went absolute toe-to-toe with that midfield 3 of Rangers, which was a really impressive battle that day, and you've got to say they probably came out on top with the result. So and they're solid in their back line as well. I think Stevenson again over Doig, maybe again David Gray seems to have brought Stevenson back in favour of Doig, and I think he gives you an experience back there as well. He obviously he's one of the veterans of the Hibs team, been there all his career, so many appearances, and he's been to these occasions on a number of occasions as well. So it's a really good matchup, whether it's a 4-3-3, 3-5-2, even a 3-4-3 potentially, they could morph into as well. So really intriguing battle against 2 really good teams, attack minded, they'll want to play, they want to go on the front foot, they want to put their stamp on the game. Really, really intriguing game today, one I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, and as Kenny said, Willie, they are fluid, and because the players are so used to playing different formations this season, they can adapt pretty quickly if they need to.
Yeah, absolutely, and Kenny's spot on with what formations it could be. In fact, he's mentioning 3 different formations, and that could happen in this game depending on what Celtic do. The way I look at it from a defensive point of view is, if I've got Kyogo to look after, I would prefer to play with a 2 and one of us make sure that we take care of him. You've got 2 wide players as well that I think need taken care of too. I think if you play with the back 3, it can be a little bit confusing at times who is picking up. So looking at it, looking at the personnel, for me defensively I would go with the 4. But I'm not calling the shots here, but from a defensive point of view and looking at the Celtic front 3, then I think a back 4 is better suited to how they would play. But I think it'll be an intriguing game. I said Celtic will be favourites, they'll start as favourites, but in no way can you discount Hibs. If they can hit the form they certainly hit against Rangers, if they can come out with the same attitude, and the same positive thoughts going forward and taking the game to the Celtic defence and getting them tested, then that front 3 could certainly test any defence, Boyle, Murphy and Nisbet. That's why I think it will be that front 3 going very similar to what they did in a different formation against Rangers, but just trying to go to the heart of that Celtic defence and take them on and try early to stamp their authority. And they need to score first, don't they? I think managerless, everything that's went on with Jack Ross, if they were to go down early, then it's a big call for them, it's a big ask for them to get back into the game. But if they get that first goal, then I think it can give them the confidence to go on and really test this Celtic.
And we saw perfectly, didn't we, Tom, just exactly what they're capable of when they do have that confidence in that semi-final. I mean, the first 45 minutes was as good as an attacking performance against Rangers that I think we've seen in years, and then second half it was as good a defensive performance as we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean they played three at the back, two up front that day. Against last time against Celtic, they went 4-5-1, and they conceded 3 goals in the first half an hour. So it's you wouldn't know what formation they're going to come up with today.
I'll come back
to you.
Intriguing. Yeah, I'll come back to you, Tom, because we can head now pitch side once again. Brian is live, this time with David Gray.
It's Kenny here, Richard. David Gray is with me down here pitch side. The lads having a lot of discussion there about how you'll line up this afternoon, but what they're agreed on, there's a lot of flexibility in the side you picked today.
Yeah, I think that's been the way we've kind of set up most of the season. They've got a lot of players that can play various positions. I think we want to be on the front foot. We want to make sure we start the game as well as we possibly can. I think that's vitally important that the boys start the game fast, and these sort of occasions will dictate that anyway.
I was here for the semi-final, David. Josh Campbell was an absolute standout that day. He keeps his place today. He's going to have got that Hampden experience. That's incredibly valuable, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think they don't come any bigger than cup finals, and I think every single player, even the ones that miss out, will be disappointed when they do, but the ones that have got the opportunity to go and play, the main thing is they've all earned the right to be here as a squad. It's a group of players. They've earned the right to be here, and obviously Josh of late as well has been fantastic. He keeps his place because he feels he deserves it.
How tough has it been for you? There have been so many distractions, obviously, the past week. You continually get asked questions about Jack Ross leaving, then the new manager. Has it been tough? Has it been hard keeping the players focused?
It's always tough when somebody loses a job, especially someone who I've been so close to over the last 2 years. You know, initially as captain, as his captain, obviously and then when I retired, he gave me the opportunity to become to take the next steps into my career, what I want to do moving forward, which is a coaching capacity. So when someone like that leaves and someone that you're so close to, it's always difficult. It's difficult to process yourself, but you need to take your own personal interests aside and recognise the job in hand, which was to prepare the team as best we can, making sure that the most important thing is that we get a reaction out of the players, because none of them were shying away from the fact that results hadn't been good enough, and it was up to us to put it right. So that was our job, was to make sure we prepared them as best we can.
The club have made it known that Sean Maloney is their #1 target. Is he in attendance this afternoon?
I have no idea. This is something that I wanted to make sure very early on, once we found out exactly the plan that we were moving in, is that there would be no distractions at all towards the players, and no distraction for myself or any of the other coaching staff preparing the team today. That the focus is firmly on us and what will be moving forward will be.
You had an incredible day here at the National Stadium, of course, in the Scottish Cup final. Is that something you share? Have you spoken a lot about the players, about what to expect today, what it takes to win in a major cup final?
Yeah, I think it's important that you can share these experiences. I think it's also, every player's different. I think the main thing I would say is how hard it is to win something in your career. There's hundreds of players that have played numerous games and never actually won something, so to be able to look back on your career and say you've won something is a fantastic achievement. It's something that can never be taken away from you, and that's been the message moving in today, is remember that today's an opportunity to do that. It's something that if you can go and get over the line, it can never be taken away from you, and something you can always reflect on.
Can you afford to pay much attention to the opposition's starting lineup? In terms of Kyogo's starting today, was that a big blow when you saw the Celtic team sheet?
No, I think we fully expected them to play. I think, listen, they're fully fantastic players. Their squad's got fantastic players all over the place, so we always knew that regardless of personnel, they were going to be a fantastic team. They've shown that. Their form in the league shows that as well. That's where they are in the league, why they are obviously competing in Europe and things. So we're under no illusions it's going to be a hard game today, but the focus has been on us and how we prepare against that.
You've just come out of the dressing room there. We're not too far away from kick-off. What were your words to the players? What have you said to them ahead of this major occasion here today?
I think they've earned the right to be here. The most important thing, I think that's... And then if you've earned the right to be here, you need to remember all the hard work and sacrifices you've made in your career to get to this point. And as I said earlier in the interview, it's about having no regrets and taking the opportunity that's in front of you.
Thanks, David. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
All the best to David Gray and indeed to Ange Postecoglou. He's got his first final as Celtic manager, and David, of course, as caretaker manager, and a cup final to lead his team into. Just an incredible situation, one he could not have anticipated not so very long ago. I noticed that telly just flashed up on the screen there. They're suggesting a back four to start with Hibernian of McGinn, Fortius, Hanlon and Stevenson, which is clearly one of the alternatives that the guys have been postulating over. We'll find out when it kicks off exactly how David Gray has gone. Tom, you were talking through the various options there and the different approaches that Hibernian have taken. Of course, taken under Jack Ross, it's David Gray who has to make that big decision today.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, the best that Hibs have played is obviously against Rangers this season. and that was a 3-5-2. Nisbet and Boyle up front. Obviously playing against different opposition. Today Celtic posed out wide, posed problems that Rangers didn't pose. So we'll wait and see. I think it's such an intriguing game. And can you make a case for Hibs? At their best, you can. You know, against Rangers, they came into that semi-final and they had a cause. And the cause was they didn't like Rangers a whole lot. There was a bad blood between them, and they had a real edge. And that came out from the first minute when they started climbing into tackles and letting known Rangers they were there. And they had a real purpose that day. The purpose today could be Jack Ross. You know, if they're looking for something to get their teeth into, that extra bit of motivation. Lewis Stevenson has come out and said it was a mistake to sack him, or they're sorry they sacked him. Martin Boyle has said the same, he was disappointed. And we have Kevin Nisbet in the papers today, in the media today, and he's eulogising Jack Ross, saying Jack Ross did everything for him. Made him a better player, showed him real compassion and support when his father died. Real emotive stuff from Kevin Nisbet, all about Jack Ross, all about the gratitude he feels towards Jack Ross. If they carry that emotion and that passion onto the pitch today, you never know. They've huge amounts to find. Of course they have, against the Celtic team that are going well. But you look at Celtic, right? 5 of the last, they're on a winning run, no doubt. Very dangerous team, but 5 of their last 6 domestic games they've won by 1 goal. And a lot of stuff about, you know, the missing players, and they have been in the last couple of games. They've missed a few players, but Kyogo, of those 6 games, Kyogo played in 4 of them. Now they've won them by a goal at those 5 of the 6. So there is an area there. I mean, I don't think the Celtic team is invincible. I don't think they're unbeatable. I think if Hibs bring their very, very best stuff, which we haven't seen since Rangers, they have a chance here. But they need to bring their best stuff.
Yeah, Richard, on David Gray, I think it's a huge day for him, of course. It's a wonderful day for him. It's probably a huge honour for him, and he'll be thinking about all those things. But he has a real job to do also. And he talked there about flexibility and the team and players playing different positions and so on. And maybe the system will change, and he has to change. But right from the off, he'll have to be watching the game really closely and not allow Celtic to get into that sort of can almost tempo that they get into. You know, they'll play quick, they'll play fast through the thirds of the pitch. If they break the press, all of those things. So it'll be really interesting in how David during the game will make those changes. He can't go on the pitch, of course, he's not a player anymore, but he's the manager, and he will have to then get his message across to the players very, very quickly, and how they adapt during the game if they have to. So that for me, he's a huge job today, and it's a big one for him as a young, inexperienced manager.
You know, I think it's a psychological thing that Hibs have to get over today. They got over it against Rangers in the semi-final because their attitude was absolutely pitch perfect. If they believe that they can beat Celtic, that's the first thing. Do they actually believe that they can beat this team? And I think there's evidence to suggest that they can.
Well, right now Rangers are a better team than Celtic, and they've already beaten them.
Yeah, and you look, okay, Celtic beat St Johnstone 1-0 in the semi-final. They had Abada, Kyogo and Jota up front. They beat Aberdeen 2-1. They had Abada, Kyogo and Jota up front. They beat Hearts 1-0. They had Forrest, Kyogo and Jota up front. You know, their main guys were all playing, and they win by a goal. Now they win.
Yes,
fair, absolutely, they win.
They missed huge chances, though. That's been
but they won by a goal.
I understand that. I agree with that absolutely. But I think they created a lot of chances also in those games.
Gave up some chances too.
They did, and they will give up
controversy in some of those games as well.
I'm not. Yeah, absolutely. And they will give up chances, and it'll be really interesting if they go. If Hibs are brave enough to go with the 3 up front. And they not through the middle of the team, but down the sides of the centre halves. If the fullbacks go into those positions, and we know the Celtic, the manager likes them to play, there's lots of spaces there to exploit with the pace of Boyle if he plays higher up the pitch, if Murphy plays high up the pitch. So that to me will be the making of Hibs today, if they can actually do that. Set pieces is the other thing that Celtic, I think, are still very, very vulnerable at. You know, I'm looking now, obviously Beaton's gone out of the team. You're relying on Rogic to do a job in that position. You've got Starfield, you've Carter Vickers. I don't see much height around the team. Maybe Turnbull can do a bit of a job, and from that perspective. So I think there's a real issue there for Celtic today, up against quite a physical Hibs team also from set pieces.
They've got to have the belief though, surely. I mean, if you've dismantled Rangers, the champions, you know, in the semi-final, you've got to have the belief that when you come to the final and you're taking on the other half of the Old Firm, that you can do the same. You've got to have that same attitude. I think it's more about attitude than belief. I think if they play with the front three, if they've got Boyle, Murphy and Nisbet against this Celtic defence, and they have a go the way they did against Rangers, then, you know, I think that would tell you initially in the first 10-15 minutes how they're feeling about themselves. The big negative is they've lost their manager. You know, they've lost their guiding light.
They can turn that into a positive, though.
But, well,
if they are that way inclined, they can turn that. There's nothing they can do about Jack Ross now, but they can use that as fuel. Say, this man was wronged. He should be here today. Let's go out and kind of win it for him.
Yeah,
to a point,
they can feel sorry for themselves, or they can feel sorry. They can think, what is this club doing? Why is the chairman sacked a manager?
That's relevant.
Why, you know, Martin Boyle, I've signed a contract because of this manager, and now they've sacked him.
Yep.
Where am I in my mind? You know, so there's. I agree with you that I think you can use it in the dressing room. I'm sure they will. David Gray will be trying to use that in the dressing room as a motivation, and let's do it. I'm sure he will say that. Let's do it for Jack, because it seems like as a group they're gutted that he's been relieved of his job.
By the way, guys, they've also got the fuel. They're in a cup final here.
Yes,
we've not even discussed the chance they've got to be up here lifting a cup. Forget Jack Ross, forget David Gray. These players need to turn up today. They've got a cup final in front of them. 11 men v 11 men. Two good teams, two really good attacking teams for that matter. They've got a cup to win. Forget what's went on before. They could use it as fuel. I get it, but it can't all be let's focus on the main job. There's a game to be won first, and that game leads to a cup, and it's a fantastic opportunity for both teams. Both sets of players should be focused on that, and you use any motivation you can. You know, there might be guys in that Hibs lineup that are happy to see Jack Ross go. You just never know. You know, everybody's different. I mean, managers leave clubs, which, by the way, is a part and parcel of our game. Not everybody's happy, not everybody's unhappy. So they've got a job to do. They've got to turn up, and they've got to, firstly, they'll have a big backing. They need to give the fans what they want, and it's here, and it's a full-blooded performance. If they can get the type of performance that Hibs got against Rangers, then I'll tell you, we're in for a really, really good game.
I think Hibs, to be perfectly honest, I think you look at the individual, you think that should be a good side, but they're flaky. They're flaky. There's no question about that, right? Because they have very poor going into the Rangers game. They obliterate Rangers. They find this stellar performance against Rangers. They scored 3 goals in 40 minutes, and they've scored 5 goals in 540 minutes since then. You know, so you can't rely on them. So I think sometimes they just need that little bit of extra motivation. They nearly always find it against Rangers, because they put in a lot of good performances, solid performances against Rangers, because there is this recent history between them. They need to. I think this Hibs team need to find a cause, something extra. Tom, the play for the cup is great, but something else.
Yeah, can I ask you a question, Tom? If you were in the dressing room now, would you be going on about Jack Ross to the players?
I'd have been going on about it during the week.
I think they have, but I think in the dressing room was the kid on the day of the match.
David Gray, you're asking would David Gray be mentioned?
I'm asking if Tom was the manager.
But would he? Yeah, so
I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't. I would be getting them focused on the game, and that. You can talk about, and they have talked about it during the week, but on the day of the match, you've got to concentrate on performance. Yeah. How you're going to get a performance? What are you going to do? What's the key things that they have to get really thinking in their brain about how they perform on this pitch? Kenny's right. It's a cup final. My word, how many times you get to a cup final? That's the motivation.
I think you have to marry the emotion and the tactics. You have to combine
Tom has just went over everything that these major players have said about Jack Ross. Yep. These players have been talking about Jack Ross. We're talking about him just now, but they've been talking about Jack Ross all week. So it hasn't disappeared. It's not as if they're happy that he's gone. It's in their mind, and we all know as players and managers that sometimes it's really difficult to get that mind focused, and I think he will be. I think he will use. David Gray's not going to get the job. No. I don't know if he's going to be at the club going forward, or what his role will be. I think he will be looking back, but that's just my opinion, and I think that's what's good about football. I agree with Kenny wholeheartedly. It's what the players do. It's a big chance out there but they need a bit of guidance, and they've lost that guiding light, and that's why it's a bit unpredictable as far as how they're going to perform, in my mind today anyway.
Just in terms of where the club is right now, and all the signs seem to be that Sean Maloney is going to be the new manager. I'm not quite sure why it's been delayed. There have been various suggestions as to, well, things that may or may not be happening. As far as we understand it, Sean Maloney is actually supposed to be here today, but he's supposed to be here as part of a UEFA Youth Pro Licence group, which is scheduled to be here anyway. Right. I think there has to be a question mark over whether he's actually going to turn up or whether he is actually going to be here.
It's informed that is off. What
there is I'm on that pro licence. I'm here doing two roles here today.
So you are Sean Maloney.
You get the job in disguise. No, I think we're supposed to be here to actually go through a task, but because of everything that's going on at the moment, I think there's an option if you wanted to come. So Sean might be here, he might be taking it in the house, who knows? But that was the original plan, but that was scrapped.
If you're Sean Maloney, I think you're staying away. You don't want to be a distraction.
He'll be watching the game. There's no getting away from it, and I would expect it to come through. Whether that's been, I would imagine it's been more of a club decision potentially to not listen. By all accounts, it's not fully done as yet anyway. So he can't take control, but he'll be watching it. I would imagine that appointment will go through. If it's not tomorrow, it'll be early this week, leading into the games next week. But he'll be taking this game in because. What a test, what a test. Everything Tom says, I mean, again, what we're labelling at Hibs can be labelled at a lot of teams that seem to raise their game against the Old Firm when the Old Firm come to town. But like you say, there is some damning stats towards this Hibs team at the moment in regards to performances out with that Rangers performance. So what a test, a cup final against one of the best teams in the country, a real test of his potential player's character. So he'll be watching on with a keen interest in this.
They've just been relaying the 3 Hibernian goals from the semi-final win against Rangers on the big screens here at Hampden. It's amazing how engaged all the supporters inside the stadium seem to be. They seem thoroughly to be enjoying that, both the Hibernian and Celtic fans. Let's just stick with Hibs. We'll get back to Celtic in a moment or two, but the Hibernian owner Ron Gordon has been speaking with Brian McLaughlin.
Ron, first of all, good to see you once again back in the country again. I know you don't want to speak about what happened with Jack at the moment. We'll speak about that whenever in your manager's appointments made. How special is this today, though, for Hibs fans once again returning to Hampden?
Well, I think it is very special. We've been in quite a few Hampden appointments over the last couple of years, certainly since I've arrived. I think every cup we've been at a semi or a final, so it's an exciting day. I think we're at a crossroads as a club, and I think today could be a wonderful opportunity for us to kind of play the kind of football we want to play and get the kind of results that we're looking for. A win would be fantastic.
A difficult couple of weeks for you?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's always been a challenging couple of weeks because of the change. But on the other hand, I think we're excited about the outlook for the club. We've made a lot of progress, which is great, and I think we're ready to kind of move on. And today is actually, I think, a delineating point. We've come. This chapter closes, I think, today. With a performance at Hampden, and that's fantastic. Just to get to the final is always a great thing. The semi-final against Rangers was a fantastic game, certainly one of the more exciting ones in my tenure at Hibs. So hopefully we'll try another big effort today.
You've placed a lot of faith in David Gray these last few days. No one knows the club better, do they?
No, exactly. David is the right guy to take us through this time. He's obviously had some magical moments here at Hampden, so we hope that he'll have another magical moment today, which would be great.
And finally, then, can we expect an appointment in the next 24 hours?
We're working on it, and we've put in a lot of diligent work. So I think it's certainly an appointment is not too far away.
And you won't confirm who?
No, I won't. I won't do that yet. We'll keep it a surprise for now.
It may not be a surprise to too many, though.
No. Well, that could be, but we'll keep it a surprise for now.
Ron, I appreciate your time. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, Brian. Thank you. Take care.
Well, if it is a surprise when it's announced, then it certainly will be a surprise, given all the steering that has been going on. It was just a fairly short interview, Tom, but some interesting stuff there. We're at a crossroads as a club.
I wrote that
this
down.
Chapter closes today.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to know what he meant by we're at a crossroads as a club, because that's quite a profound thing to say. I'd no idea what he meant by that. I think he doesn't want to talk about Jack Ross, but I hope his players today show more gumption than he did if he's shying away from that question, which Brian would have asked. and he doesn't want to go there. Well, I think he should have gone there.
This chapter closes. Would you not think this is the start of a new chapter if they went and won a cup today to build on something going forward?
Well, what does that even mean? This chapter. What does that mean?
I'll be honest, I really can't get my head around that. It might be that it was very innocent, and he just simply means that Jack Ross, that era's over, a new era's about to begin, and this is essentially the end of the Jack Ross era because it was his team that got to the final. Perhaps it's as simple as that, but it's kind of left me with more questions than answers, I think.
Yeah. Well, he says David is the right guy to take us through this time. Why? Why is he the right guy? What experience has he got to take a team into a cup final?
And what's his future?
As manager.
And what's his future as well? What's David Gray's future going forward if you're bringing in a new management team?
So, see, there's a lot of questions about it with Hibs and the way they're being run and what they're doing. And none of those questions were answered. In fact, there's more. I'm scratching my head even more now. There's a crossroads as a club. Wow. Yeah.
I just think that sometimes at football clubs they move from appointment to appointment. They move from manager to manager, and things change and plans change. You sign a group of players to play a certain way, a new manager comes in and he doesn't want to play that way. For me, again, and I don't know, I'm now making it sense out or trying to make sense out like everybody is. The appointment of Sean Maloney for me is a real positive one, a forward-thinking one for me, if it goes through. And for me, it's maybe like they've decided this is the way they want to go. There has been rumblings for me at the start of the season. There was a bit of unrest potentially at Hibs. Now, they've made their call. They've got rid of Jack, rightly or wrongly. Again, for me, it was harsh. There's no doubt it was harsh. But they've made the decision, they have to move on for it now. Bringing Sean Maloney in, if this happens and it goes through, they've made the call that he's the man to take the club forward. I would like to think that it's not just Sean's plan, it's the club's plan, it's the manager's plan, it's going to be Sean's vision, and they're all aligned and they can fully commit and get behind it, rather than there being maybe unrest behind the scenes. Again, you see Graham Matthews obviously left in the last few months. Now Jack's left also, since the new owners are now coming in. This is their appointment now, and as they must believe he's the man to take the club forward. I just hope if they do, that they give it the full backing and they stick to the beliefs that they had now and giving Sean the job.
I mean, at this stage, stage, we've got no idea if Sean Maloney is going to be a good football manager.
That's the point.
He's worked with some of the best players in the world. He's worked with some of the best coaches in the world. He had an exemplary playing career. None of that makes him a good football manager.
It doesn't make Steven Gerrard a good manager. It doesn't make Ange Postecoglou a good manager who's untried and untested at any kind of level other than Australia and Japan. He's got this is another one. It's another different appointment. Ange Postecoglou. It's Steven Gerrard gets the point. I feel Neil Lennon got the Celtic job really early on in his coaching career as well. There is no guarantees whatsoever. But the biggest thing for me is again similar to Dundee United with Thomas Coates. Yeah. They hang their hat on it. They make the decision and they stick to it. For me, football clubs need to understand what they want to be first before they can actually go and put someone in charge.
And do they understand? That's the question.
Well, that is the question.
Nobody knows. We don't know what the plan is going forward, and he hasn't answered anything there in relation to it. Listen, Sean Maloney is a great young man. He's a very intelligent young man. And I've spoken to him, listened to him. He's very, very good on the game and so on. But managing a team is a big step up, Kenny. You've been there.
Good.
You know what it's like. You make the big decisions. You've got to deal with people. It's about communication. It's about all of those things that you have to get into the job first to really know if you're actually you're cut out for it. And that doesn't take away from you knowing the game or tactics or all of that, but it's about people relationships and how you get the best out of people, and that's what's untried with Sean Maloney.
But he has to make the step at some point. He does. He has to make that step. And by the way, you've touched on it. Sean's a very, very. He's a deep thinker. He's an intelligent boy. Yeah. He's obsessed with the game. So he knows all this. He knows exactly what he'll be getting in for him. But you never know until you're actually in that building and what it actually entails. And it's up to him to adapt. For me, it's up to really important that he's got good people about him. Good people that can help him in that respect. So I'll be listening. It's not appointed yet, and we're discussing if he is. But I think it will go through, and I think it's a very, very positive point for Hibernian Football Club.
I think pretty much everyone thinks it's going to go through. The big question really is why it didn't go through and why this isn't the new chapter starting today rather than the old chapter finishing today.
Well, I think
it's a process, Richard. It's a process.
It's a process. Right. But I think the fact
I think we've heard that one before from American owners as well. A little bit closer to home, and I think it's the same approach, Richard. I think it's style of play. I think these owners, chairmen, people that put money into the club want to have a say in how the game is played. They're not telling the manager what to do, but the manager has got to buy into playing an open, attacking, attractive style of football, rather than just, surviving, rather than just getting to semi-finals. Ron Gordon said it himself, they've been to plenty of semi-finals, cup finals, but he's obviously not happy because Jack Ross is not there. He's not happy with the style of play. It's about style of play in my book. Reading between the lines.
Yeah.
That's so what I'm thinking.
You've seen his
get rid of
the Jack Ross style of play.
Well,
they had their bad days, but generally it was good to watch, wasn't it?
Not really. Not this season. Football has been dull.
I don't think he's a negative type of manager, Jack Ross, but I think there was enough negativity there. And you don't know what's going on behind the scenes either, whether Jack Ross is getting on with the board or the chairman, whether they're saying the same things during discussions, are they going in the same direction? Obviously not, because he's not there any longer. And I think, just looking at where Aberdeen was and their situation with Derek McInnes and the fact that, the new owners thought that the football was not exciting enough. And the new manager comes in with a remit to make it more exciting, to play in the front foot, to go forward. And I think that's the same with Hibs.
And that's another appointment, isn't it? In our game, Stephen Glass coming in is on very little experience, so it's another appointment that the club decide he's the man. We're going to take the gamble,
I think there's a number of reasons why it's been delayed, and we know the stories came out at the start of the week that it was Sean Maloney. I say internally they were wondering how did that story come out and how did sensitive details come out, so maybe they're having a little look at that. I'd like to think, and Sean Maloney, I'm a fan of Sean Maloney. I think everything that the boys have been saying about him I absolutely endorse. I think he's a terrific individual, right? A really, really intelligent thinker about the game, and I think he'll be a good appointment. But I'd like to think that Sean Maloney is having a look under the bonnet of this club and saying, right, I need certain people here and here and here, and I'm not so sure, and I want that person there, just to create an environment and a setup that he's absolutely comfortable with, rather than having people foisted upon him, an arranged marriage of assistants or director of recruitment or any of the rest of it. I hope that's what Sean Maloney is looking at. Just think, is this the right move for me? Because he's got a terrific job with Belgium, but he needs to make sure that the setup in Hibs is absolutely conducive to him coming in and doing a good job.
Well, we'll find out in the fullness of time. You would hope that it'll be within the next little while as to whether it is indeed, and all the smart money would be on it being a positive in that respect, that Sean Maloney will indeed be the new Hibernian manager. If you want to get more of an insight into Sean, his thinking, his time in football, his philosophy, then you should download this Sporting Life podcast, shouldn't you, Tom?
Well, that's a very good plug. Thank you, Richard. Yes, you should. An hour of chat with Sean Maloney, his life and times. All Hibs fans should get a load of that.
Would you say it's among your top 300 podcasts that you've recorded of late?
Easily among the top 300.
Right. Has he given you part of his signing on fee or anything when you're promoting him along the way?
No, I haven't spoken to Sean, but I would love to see him as a manager. I'd be intrigued to see how he does, because I think we're all admirers of him. He's a very, very intelligent guy.
Yeah, I think it'll be fascinating to see if he has what it takes to be a manager.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
And the points the boys are making are absolutely right. Like, he's all the game knowledge, fantastic game knowledge, and he's dealt with loads of obviously world-class players. But the management side of it, dealing with characters who are stepping out of line. You see that Jason Cummings, you're going to be throwing curveballs as manager, and how do you deal with that? The craziness of dealing with footballers. How do you deal with that? All of these kind of unpleasant surprises it's not all about laying out a team and getting the tactics, but dealing with some characters as well.
Just a final thought on that. The job he's in, there is little or no pressure. Yeah, he's there. He's assisting Roberto Martinez. He's working with some of the best players in the world. Why on earth would you give that up to take over at any Scottish football club?
Well, maybe that's what's causing delay. He's thinking very deeply about it. But listen, he wants to be his own man. He has to start somewhere himself. You've got to start. International football is one of these situations where you're in it for short, compact periods of time. Yes, you've got to do all the other bits outside it and so on, watch players on, but on the pitch and with the group of players, you're in it for 10, 12 days, and then you sort of take, even now, all the managers are on a break and they're watching games and preparing for next March and then into the Nations League and so on. Does that fulfill a young man like Sean Maloney? Maybe he wants to be on a daily basis and get himself started on the scene and test himself. And I think all young men coming out of playing especially wants to get into that role very, very quickly. Us older guys might have a little more time to reflect on what we've done and what we haven't done over the years.
Yeah. Well, we should take a moment to congratulate Kenny, of course, back in football management as assistant to Martin Rennie at Falkirk. I know you've just been a couple of days back out in the training pitch. Thoroughly enjoying it, Kenny, and relishing it.
It's been great to get back in. It's been a brilliant couple of days. Great response for the lads, and all culminated in a 40-minute display yesterday that was abandoned by the fog. And fortunate enough, we're 1-0 up at the time. Well, unfortunate, I suppose, as well. But no, it's been great to get back in. And like you say, even just going back on the Sean thing, it's what an opportunity for Sean. There's things going on at the football club clearly, but Hibs is a brilliant starting point now. What they've built up over the last few years with the stadium, with the training ground and all the infrastructure that's in place to go and assist the manager, I think everything's there. So for me, it's a really good place for Sean to go and start also, So yeah, for me, delighted to be back in. It's an opportunity, and it's been twiddling my thumbs for the last 2.5 months, so it was good to get back out on the grass with the players.
Thankfully not foggy today, as it was right around the country, or most of the country yesterday. It affected not just Kenny's game, 2 other matches also abandoned because of the fog. Then of course the big news from the Championship, 2 big stories. Tommy Wright being sacked by Kilmarnock, and Arbroath ending the weekend at the top of the Championship. Just absolutely astonishing. Lots of great stories yesterday. A bigger story will be written today by either Celtic or Hibernian. Let's hear from some of their fans, fans of both teams, as they made their way inside the stadium. Brian McLaughlin caught up with them.
And with some Hibernian fans, can I ask you first of all about travel? Was there any doubt at all about actually coming to the game today?
Not for me personally. We're from Campbelltown, so it is a bit of a drive, but no doubts at all.
Do you feel that this is a safe environment for fans to come today?
I'm a bit more nervous about it, I have to say, but we've done everything we can to keep ourselves and other people as safe as possible.
It's a family time for us. We're not seeing the family at Christmas. We're seeing all the family today, so for us, this is our Christmas.
Well, how confident are you then that a Christmas present will be the League Cup today?
I'm not terribly confident, to be honest, but it's football, you never know. We've been here before. I was here when Hibs beat Celtic 2-1. It's the first cup so Hibs win, so we weren't expected to win that day. We're not expected to win today.
The sacking of Jack Ross, could that have had an impact on the team today?
I think it could have had an impact. The players seem pretty unsettled a bit by his departure, but it might just be what they need to spur them on.
Yeah, now with some Celtic fans, no problems in travelling today. Were you always going to be coming to the game?
Yeah, we always coming to the game, but I was driving anyway. More problems was with parking other than getting here. Looking about and I see supporter buses sort of numbers, the minis and stuff like that as well,
Took the car today maybe instead of the train myself.
Ange Postecoglou, what has he brought to the club that was missing last season?
Good attacking football, positive energy about the club at the moment.
Kyogo starts today?
Always key, yeah, he just offers a lot of pace up the top,
What would it mean, do you think, for Celtic to get the first trophy of the season under the belt?
Really tremendous for Ange to get his first trophy, first part of silverware in about 6 months at the club.
Fans of both teams chatting to Brian as they made their way inside the stadium. John McGinn, I see, is here this afternoon. The cameras have just picked up on the Aston Villa midfielder up near the back of the main stands. The Hibernian fans, of course, populating off to our left as we look down from high in the BT South stand. The Celtic fans off to our right, and all the way around there. It'll be noisy, it'll be atmospheric. Certainly a lot of the fans, I think, took heed of the warnings, the suggestions to come along nice and early, because coming along here 2.5 hours before kick-off time, there were loads of fans milling in and around the streets around the National Stadium here. It is one of those afternoons. It's dull, it's cold, it's damp, it's a bit dreary, but it's a cup final, and that changes your outlook entirely until your team concedes the first goal, and then it all becomes a bit painful again. The lights are flashing around Hampden. Not quite pyrotechnics, although, yep, they are set up. They'll be getting set off as the players emerge and take their positions down there on the pitch. Kind of thinking about this earlier, Tom, and there was a spell, undoubtedly there was a spell, where Celtic Rangers kind of almost disregarded the League Cup. They couldn't be bothered with the Diddy tournament, as it became known by some of them. It's become more important, I think, in recent years again, and particularly, well, under Brendan Rodgers and all those trebles, and Neil Lennon, of course, but certainly it was always the first trophy. It's a big one for, I mean, clearly it would be massive for Hibs, much bigger for Hibs to win the League Cup, but it's a huge thing for Ange Postecoglou as well, this, isn't it?
It is massive, and there's plenty of players in his lineup that haven't won anything for Celtic. I mean, this is their first chance, to be fair to them. So it's kind of a new start for Postecoglou, and for quite a few of these starting lineups that haven't won nothing for Celtic. So League Cup is their first shot at it, and it's huge. It's huge for them. Of course it is, because you know the ones who were here last season, you know the Rogic's, Turnbull, Callum McGregor, obviously the captain now. The pain that they had last season was acute. They took kicking after kicking after kicking. The whole stadium was stress sitting. And I did a piece with Ryan Christie last week, and he was talking about this. Obviously down at Bournemouth now. So this is a chance to put all that. They put it to bed already, but this would be the full stop on last season. Back winning a trophy under a new manager who'll be getting off to a flyer if he wins today.
Start of a new chapter, Tom.
Oh, you might call that, Pat. Yes, that's his phrase of the day. A new chapter.
Again, just looking into the stand down below is Pat Stanton, he played for both clubs, but a real Hibernian legend. Pat, he was the captain of the Hibs team that won here in 1972. What an incredibly talented Hibs team that was under Eddie Turnbull. Roy Aitken is here, of course, lifted so much silverware as Celtic captain. The Scotland manager Steve Clark and his assistant John Carver, both here. The great and good are out to watch this first final. I did wonder if it might have any kind of impact in terms of the fans, the COVID situation, any concerns people might have. Willie, there are a few empty seats still to be filled, but in the main, it looks as if the fans have turned out. The excitement of being in a major cup final has won the day.
Yeah, absolutely, Richard. You know, and I think as far as Celtic's concerned, it is a new era for them. You know, trophyless last season, so they want to get the silverware back in the cabinet. As for Hibs, it's a day out, isn't it? You know, when you are the underdogs, when you're outside the Old Firm, then you've got to treasure these occasions that you get to come to Hampden to play in a cup final, and really difficult. Well, I didn't think it was going to be a difficult decision for the fans. I knew that they were all going to come. You know, you can get advice, but at the same time, they're that far through it. We've all, you know, had to have sacrifices in the last 2 years. I think your club's at Hampden, it's a cup final, it's a magnificent occasion. You don't want to throw that ticket away, you want to come. And you heard someone there saying that this is his Christmas, and he's going to cancel Christmas, but he's going to come to the game. That's how important it is, and I think that's how important it is for most of these fans here today.
Yeah, the pyrotechnics are going off currently. They could actually just keep that going for the whole 90 minutes, because you just get a little blast of heat each time they go off. Now, right now, off to our left, the Hibernian fans have got the mosaics out, and it's green, black and white, it seems to be, as you go all the way around there. The Celtic fans have got something. I've got no idea what it is at the moment. It's slowly taking some kind of shape. It's one of those where if you crunch your eyes up, you can see it a little bit better, but it's still not quite working for me. There's white, there's what looks like brown, there's green. It's just not, I mean, the Celtic fans have put up some incredible displays over the years. That one may not be their best.
You need to get in a helicopter and look at it from the sky. Unfortunately, we don't have one handy.
You're about 10 feet further away than me, Tom. It doesn't look any better from there then, does it? Obviously not. Yeah, no idea. Sorry, no idea what that is, but the players will be gathering in the tunnel down below us, and indeed, here they come, led out by John Beaton and his match officials. And the Hibernian players with a white tracksuit tops on that says simply Hibs on the back. The Celtic players are in their match strips. The pyrotechnics really warming the place up now. Now they're the safe order of pyrotechnics. I see there are a number of, 20 players that are currently burning right in the middle of the Celtic fans, off to our right. And the smoke is wafting across this stadium. Willie, Paul Hanlon, Callum McGregor, which captain lifts the trophy at the end of the day?
Well, whichever one it'll be, that'll be the happiest captain, I can tell you that. But who it will be, I think, is really difficult. I think Celtic on form are better than Hibs, but watching Hibs against Rangers and the performance that they put in, the pace and the energy, their front, particularly Martin Boyle, if he can recapture that form and take it to the Celtic defence, then they've got every chance to lift that trophy. But what I can tell, both captains out there, what a magnificent feeling it is to lift the trophy back in the day. 76, God, it was that long ago, it certainly was, and it is just fabulous to be able to turn out here, particularly if you are the underdog. So if if it is Hibs that lift the trophy, then that feeling will stay with them for the rest of their life. As far as Celtic's concerned, well, they're going to get more chances than Hibs, but I think it's going to be an afternoon of entertainment. Two teams that look forward to playing an open, attractive football, and I'm certainly looking forward to watching them.
Yeah, I mean, way back the early to mid-70s, they played in a couple of Scottish Cup finals, League Cup finals, and both teams wore the home strips. There seemed to be no issue back then. Now both teams are in their away strips. Hibs in all white, Celtic pretty much in all green, which is a shame, but it doesn't detract from what is a fantastic occasion. It is the Scottish League Cup final for season 21-22. It is live here on Sports and on BBC Radio Scotland with Pat Bonner, Kenny Miller and Liam McLeod.
This is the first time Hibernian and Celtic have met in a League Cup final since 1974, which came during a spell where they always seem to play in the League Cup final. Hat-tricks, goals aplenty when they've met here in this competition showpiece in the past. Will it be that kind of game today? You wouldn't be surprised. Celtic will kick off on a bitterly cold afternoon here in Glasgow. Right to left as we watch from the main south stand in the dark green kit. Hibs all in white today. Celtic shooting west towards Mount Florida in this first half. Hibs towards the Tory Glen end as Celtic kick off. Rogic does so, rolls it back to McGregor, who finds Taylor out to this near side for Johnston, who makes just his third start of this 21-22 season, and it's all the way back with Starfelt, who slips it across his penalty area for Carter Vickers. It is a back four to begin with for Hibernian, so Paul McGinn at right back, it's Macy in goal, Porteous, Hanlon and Stevenson form the Hibs defence. They've got the midfield there with Joe Newell anchoring it. Jamie Murphy is in there as well today with Jake Doyle-Hayes, Martin Boyle, Josh Campbell and Kevin Nisbet making up the Hibs team. Celtic with Hart in goal, Juranovic, Carter Vickers, Starfelt and Taylor, Turnbull, Rogic and McGregor, Abada and Johnston either side of Kyogo, who has made it. Nisbet has made it for Hibs, and those are two big players potentially in this cup final as he goes out for a Celtic throw-in on this near side to be taken by Greg Taylor. Taylor's got a short option if he wants it in Johnston. Takes it short to Turnbull instead. He's had that nicked off by Doyle-Hayes. Now Martin Boyle's off in his first run of this cup final, and Starfelt knocks it out for a throw into Hibs down on this near side. Who will settle the quicker? Packy Bonner.
That's the question. It's always nice in the cup final to get a touch of the ball early. Both teams will be wanting to get a grip of it and pass it around, give everybody that first touch, and it's got to be a good touch, even from a goalkeeper perspective. The first cross into the box, but you want to get your hands on it just to settle yourself down, because cup finals is notorious for that first 10-15 minutes with adrenaline running through your body.
Side of play for a throw-in on the near side for Hibs, to be taken by Paul McGinn, being watched by, well, his entire family would have thought. We have seen his brother John, the Scottish Cup winning Hibs player, of course, alongside his dad in the stand, as Celtic managed to get it away. And then there's a lunging challenge there by Stevenson, and he's going to be called over by John Beaton. It might just be a word of warning, though. The Celtic players, Kenny Miller, are swarming around the referee as well.
Yeah, this is taking me back to the semi-final, where I think it was Paul Hanlon who absolutely wiped Joe Rebo out after 10 seconds. They waited a little bit longer this time, just under the 2-minute mark before that first meeting challenge steamed in. But I think Lewis Stevenson's very lucky he got away without a booking there.
In the modern game, he's very lucky, Kenny, because he was late. He's committed to the ball. Mikey Johnson using that little bit of pace to get to the ball before him, but he was well late. The ball was well gone. Even though it's early in the game, I think maybe that's the only reason why the referee has not gone with the yellow card. It's so early in this contest.
Almost 15 years on from his man of the match performance in the final of this competition as a teenager, Lewis Stevenson got a word of warning only there. Celtic took the free kick long out to the far side. It's gone out for a Hibs throw-in though. Continuing to cover the stance from where we are is the smoke from the pyrotechnics ahead of kick-off, as that's headed out of play for a throw into Celtic by Kevin Nisbet over on that far side. Bowled back the way by Josip Juranovic in his preferred right-back position. Anthony Ralston dropping to the Celtic bench for this one this afternoon. Chris Cadden was injured for Hibs in the win over Dundee on Tuesday, but has made the bench as Carter Vickers strikes forward and finds Rogic out to the right-hand side to Bada. Gets the cross ball in, Hanlon meets it, heads it behind for the first corner of the cup final, which goes to Celtic, 3.5 in.
And that'll not be the first time we'll see that today for Paul Hanlon. Positioning himself correctly, defending, blocking, heading things away. He was absolutely outstanding player for Hibs. Great servant alongside Lewis Stevenson on the left side of that Hibs defence.
He's such great work in the city. Stevenson and Hanlon as the corner comes in, headed away by Nisbet out to that far side, but it will drop out for a Celtic throw-in. Johnston's popped up over on that Celtic right-hand side in front of the north stand, and he bowls it back into his own half here for Juranovic. Celtic's number 88 finds Starfelt. Everyone bar Joe Hart's in the Hibs half right now. Carl Starfelt plays it short, gets it back immediately from Johnston, turns away from his man who is Campbell, and finds McGregor, who finds Turnbull. Rolls it along the grass, out to the far side for Juranovic, down the line for Rogic, level with the Hibs 18-yard line. Rogic is tackled and he was out of play. It's Doyle Hayes' challenge, it's gone off the Hibs man last, and that will be a Celtic throw-in, which is taken quickly by Juranovic to McGregor, back to the Croatian, and he rolls it back into his own half for Carter Vickers, on loan from Tottenham Hotspur. And now it's with Taylor to McGregor. Such real recent dominance for Celtic in all competitions in this country, but it's a vastly changed team. Not many out there in Celtic colours have experience of winning trophies in the colours, as the cross comes in, too high for Kyogo, might get a second chance. Macy gets onto it after Johnston nodded it back towards the goal, but it's now in the gloves of the Hibernian goalkeeper. 5 in, 0-0.
Yeah, really good pass from Carter Vickers. We know he can do it, stepping out a couple of yards into midfield and then producing that penetrating pass to split the Hibs, so they can almost defensive unit across midfield, and then they were on attack down the right hand side. Good ball across. I think it was probably well over Kyogo's head from where we're sitting here, and then when it came back to Kyogo, he was kind of almost, the goalkeeper got his fist to it, but I think Kyogo was almost thinking that ball's gone by me. He didn't realise it was going to come back into his path again.
And you can see the problems that the inverted fullbacks are causing already. Newell gets attracted inside, that frees up the player David Turnbull, and Tom Rogic is in behind them. Really, really interesting ploy from Ange Postecoglou that he's done since he's came to the club, and it's already kind of getting the benefits in this game.
McGregor playing it short to Taylor, back to the Celtic skipper McGregor, looking to hoist his first trophy as Celtic skipper above his head in a couple of hours. McGregor has it again, rolls it to Johnston's in good space, hits the byline, he's in the box, cuts it back onto the 6-yard area, but the flag's got up on the far side, and it will be a free kick to Hibs inside their own penalty box. 6.5 goalless minutes in. Packy touched on it there just a moment ago. Celtic so much recent success, but so many new faces who haven't got that experience.
Yeah, it's incredible. Actually, Hibs, I think, have got more players that's got a cup final experience than Celtic, which is a bit unique.
Well, the last two Scottish Cup finals, Hibs played the most recent one in May. 7 started that game. For Celtic, 12 months ago, the penalty shootout win over Hearts in the Scottish Cup final as well. Just the 3 starters: Greg Taylor, David Turnbull and Callum McGregor.
Yes, that's a fairly unique stat, but I think from a point of the way the Celtic are playing the game, they'll go into it with a lot of confidence at the moment, and they have shown that at the very start. This is good pressure though.
Yeah, Campbell on Starfelt, and he's forced the mistake as it's hoofed out for a throw into Hibs down on this near side.
Yeah, and the point with Campbell, he's pushed on to Callum McGregor in the middle of the pitch mostly, and they're almost playing like a 4-2-3-1, and leaving Kevin Nisbet up on his own and hoping that those sort of almost 3 players behind them will put the pressure on Celtic's midfielders to not allow them to dictate the game.
Celtic clear their lines underneath. It's Hanlon, the Hibs skipper, heads it out for a throw-in right in front of David Gray. What price David Gray, leading Hibs to the League Cup, having been the man who ended the 114-year-long wait for the Scottish Cup more than 5 years ago now. It's Taylor for Celtic, onto the chest of Johnston, back to Taylor. Good covering there by Doyle Hayes, and then booted away by Porteous. Little header forward by Juranovic, straight to Joe Newell, who passes it out to Stevenson on the far side. Now it's Jamie Murphy, and he'll win a throw-in over on the Hibs left. And it's a couple of yards inside Celtic territory. Stevenson's going to take it over there. He's 33 these days, Lewis Stevenson. He's dislodged Josh Doig as the left back in recent times, and he's over this throw-in, which he takes short to Josh Campbell. First time with the left foot, hooks it forward. It's cleared though by Carter Vickers. Now Kyogo couldn't get onto it, and it was all the way back through to Matt Macey, the Hibs keeper. Hasn't been a good run for Hibs in recent times. That was a very important victory against Dundee on Tuesday. They dropped out of the top 6, having been top 4 for so long under Jack Ross. And now on the lookout for their 34th different manager and 15th since the turn of the century, which is remarkable. Sean Maloney appears, former Celtic player, to be the man. We shall see. For now, it's 0-0 in the 76th Scottish League Cup final. 9 minutes in, long ball for Celtic out to the far side for Abada, covering with Stevenson, who knocks it out for a Celtic throw-in over on that far side. It's going to be taken here by Juranovic, short to Rogic, shields the ball up against Newell. Good spin there by Rogic, rolls it out to this left-hand side of the box for Johnston, level with the penalty spot, shuffles on to the right. This attempted shot is blocked though. Celtic win it back through Taylor on the left, swings the ball in towards Leila Bada, flicked away by Stevenson, and Jamie Murphy will complete the clearance out for a throw into Celtic over on the far side. They've got very recent memories, Kenny Miller, do Hibs, of being obliterated by Celtic at Easter Road. That first half performance, one of, if not the best Celtic performance of this season, in that 3-1 victory at Easter Road.
Yeah, they were electric in the first half of that game there, and in this, you can see in this game it's a complete match-up in the middle. The 3 midfielders of Hibs are all over the 3 Celtic midfielders. Obviously Celtic are, as expected, got the lion's share of the possession, but at the moment they've gotten behind in particular the left side of the pitch, in behind Hibs a few times, but without any real opportunities being created. But you can see the rotations for the full-backs going inside and the midfield 3. The way Tom Rogic receives the ball, he's going to be a big player and a big headache for Hibs all afternoon.
There's Rogic again. He's poked away from him. Falls favourably for McGregor out to this near side for Johnston. Hibs claimed Abada taking the ball out just when Kenny was talking for a goal kick. It was played on. Hibs cleared out for a throw-in. So Celtic retaining the pressure here as it comes back to Turnbull. His effort towards goal is deflected, and it goes behind that right-hand post, and it will be another corner to Celtic. It was an awkward one for Matt Macey. Wasn't sure where that ball was dropping.
Yeah, and he's got every right to have to go for it, and it's one of them, a shot, you take it on, it takes a huge deflection, looping over the top of the goalkeeper. It was always going to go wide, but he didn't know that, and he had to go for it.
Out-swinging corner with the right foot, and it comes flicked away by Porteous, and the clearance completed by Doyle Hayes at the edge of his own box. Little period of pressure Hibs are having to withstand here. Celtic in possession with Rogic, showed too much of it to Porteous, who slides it out of play for a throw into Celtic on this near side.
As Kenny was saying, they're matched up. You know, obviously the Hibs players have been matched up against, but it's now down to about individual battles. You know, you could see Tom Rogic getting the ball a couple of times, almost turning his player, whether it's Joe Newell that he's on or whether it's Doyle Hayes has got to pick him up. He's coming on the inside, turning him, and then exploiting the spaces, and then he's got the ability to pass the ball to players who are running off the ball.
Poor pass by Porteous straight to Taylor. It's now with McGregor. He passes it back to Carter Vickers. It was a real blow for Celtic. Their start of the semi. Jota unavailable still. We knew that, known that for a few weeks. James Forrest as well, who scored in 3 successive League Cup finals for Celtic, unavailable today through injury. He's having a miserable time of it over the last 12 or so months. Here comes Mikey Johnston, though, who is in the team, driving down the left of the Hibs box. He's now level with the 6-yard line. Shuffles past one, gets past another, looking for space. He shoots with the right foot, but it's over the bar, and it will remain Hibs 0, Celtic 0 in the final, 12.5 in.
Brilliant wing play for Mikey Johnson. 1v1 against McGinn. He puts him on the back foot. He then gets doubled up on with Boyle, but he managed to wriggle through the two of them. And you know, he's went for power there, but I think he should just be feeding it into that back post area. It was a really good opportunity, Packy, there for them.
I actually thought he was going to get a bit of a bend on it. He did go for power, but he didn't quite get a bend, and his ball went almost straight and was about a couple of yards wide and maybe high over the crossbar. You can't see it quite from this angle what height it was, but certainly it was fantastic play from the young man.
Real positive, and it's good to see him back as well. He's had his injury problems as well over the course of the season, but a real talent, a young talented player, and he's getting the opportunity today, so it's been a positive start for him.
Yeah, it's a real reward for him. All the frustration over the last couple of years. As Hanlon meets it in the centre circle with the up and under, McGregor's underneath it, nods it forward. Kyogo has to come back onto the halfway line to get a touch as he knocks it out to Rogic on that right hand side. Joe Newell with the challenge out for a throw-in. Rogic feels he was fouled. It is just a throw-in though, I think, is it? No, free kick's been given.
He's going to have to expect that, Tom Rogic, because he's a dangerous player. He's going to need to feel contact. Hibs need to do that.
Here comes Taylor for Celtic with a left foot out to that right-hand touchline for Abada. Back down the line for Juranovic. His pass is cut out, breaks for McGregor though. This is serious pressure from Celtic without testing Macy too much at the moment, but you feel that's only a matter of time the way this is going. Now it's with Taylor, he shoots from the edge of the box, Macy spills it, Abada knocks it towards goal, and somehow Hanlon hooks it off the line. The flag went up anyway, which spares Liel Abada's blushes, and it also spares Matt Macy's blushes. 14 in, Hibs 0, Celtic 2.
Well, I can only imagine from Matt Macy that the ball was moving when the shot came in with real pace from about 25 yards. I think it took a little deflection there, did it, Kenny?
I'm not sure, but what I do know, Paul Hanlon never knew that was offside, and it's another bit of incredible defending just to get in front of Abada and get that cleared off the line. But yeah, it did definitely move, and I think the bounce just in front never helped him either. But it was definitely offside. It was a good 2 yards offside, Abada.
Yeah, but if you're going to get your hands to the ball, you've got to push it away. If you're not going to hold on to it, you can't leave it there for players to follow up. You've got to push it away to safety.
Well, you got away better than anyone, Packy, than that.
I used to catch them.
Don't catch them these days, Packy. That's a problem.
Nobody catches them.
Turnover for Taylor out to this near side. Johnston back to Taylor. His pass down the line blocked by Boyle, who we haven't seen much of in the opening 15 minutes of the League Cup final. The header from Campbell. Just to get it to Murphy, who fires it forward. Now Boyle is driving forward, looking to get onto it. Taylor did well to react as he passes it back to Joe Hart. And then I think Boyle has fouled his man actually on this near side, and that's going to be a free kick to Celtic, which they've taken quickly, nothing each.
Yeah, I just wonder what happened. Starfield there, he can almost come under the ball, whether he misjudged it or what, because and he was lucky that Taylor was in a good position to actually give him a little bit of cover, because Hibs had two players running through, but he could have made, I think it was a mistake from Starfield in that case. He just misjudged it.
Celtic are unbeaten in the last 11 meetings between these two. Hibs' last win in the fixture was in December back in 2018. Slivkan Kamberi scored the goals in a 2-0 win. That goes out over on that far side.
It's offside, I think.
Yeah, it is. That's what's been given. Juranovic takes the free kick back to Carter Vickers. Walking pace, jogging now up towards halfway. Looks up, right foot, low ball up the line for Abada, who passes it short to Rogic.
Yeah, I think if I was Kevin Nisbet, I would be trying to maybe stay over on top of Carter Vickers and almost make to pass to Starfelt, because Carter Vickers has got that ability to step out into midfield again. On that occasion, it's almost a 2v1 high up the pitch. So I think I would prefer if Kevin Nisbet stopped the ball going to Carter Vickers. Kenny?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they need to. That's something they need to identify. Who's the maybe less likely to play these dangerous passes. I'd absolutely agree that it would be Carter Vickers who would try and stop it. It's a hard one for the striker. Having to obviously do his work in between both. And the way Celtic want to play, they will be patient. They will look for these angles. They will wait for the openings to come. So it's a hard role for Nisbet today, particularly in the early part of the game where Hibs have not really got a foothold yet in any types of sustained possession.
Here's Johnston for Celtic on the left wing, moving infield into central area now. Brings Boyle with him, passes it short to Turnbull. It's a poor touch by David Turnbull. Kind of off the Boyle just in the last little while. Turnbull, he sets high standards, of course. And Starfelt chases it there to McGregor. Now it's with Turnbull in the centre circle, back to the Swede Starfelt. And now Taylor sweeps it back to Carter Vickers. Nothing each, 17 and a half in.
I think this is one of the reasons why you play the two up with the 3 and the 5, or the 3, the 4, the 1 and the 2, because Martin Boyle now in a transition moment there, they had the opportunity to counter, but Martin Boyle's a way back defender and Kevin Nisbet's up there on his own. Whereas if he was higher up the park, there's a right hand side of this pitch that he could be running into on the transition moment.
Well, one back there by Juranovic, but it was out to play off McGregor for a Hibs throw-in. Over on that far side here, Sportsound this Sunday afternoon. The first major silverware of the Scottish football season will be won today at some point here on digital, on 810 medium wave and FM sounds, and bbc.co.uk/sportscotland, as Jamie Murphy looks for the big switch, looking for McGinn. Good covering by Johnston as he wins it back, got between the man and the ball, finds Starfelt, who smashes it up the pitch. Porteous now has it, rolls it back to his keeper. Macy gets rid of it, he doesn't care where it goes, just as long as it's nowhere near Kyogo, as he puts it out for a throw-in on this near side. 18 and a half in, Hibs nil, Celtic nil.
No, and that's what he's going to be very careful of, Ryan Porteous. I think he did the right thing. He just, obviously the pace of Kyogo closing down, whether he'll be able to continue to do that throughout the game after being out injured or not, but certainly that's a feature of his game, closing goalkeepers down, don't give them a moment to settle and make the pass.
There's Craig Sampson down there talking to Kevin Nisbet, the Hibs goalie coach, stepped up to first team coach just now as they look for a new manager. He was St Mirren's goalkeeper when they won the League Cup in 2013 against Hearts, as that goes out on this near side for a throw into Hibs to be taken by McGinn. 19 minutes on the clock.
That's a good test for Kyogo's hamstring there, the pace and the intensity they went to press Matt Macy there, so he seems to be okay in that. Like you say, whether he'll be able to sustain that over the course of 90 minutes remains to be seen.
Goalless at Hamden, hooked away by Juranovic. And then Rogic knocks it forward. Joe Newell with a cushion header back the way to Paul Hanlon. Up into the air it goes, onto the halfway line. McGregor looking to win it back for Celtic. Hibs have given it away in any case, and now it's with Greg Taylor. It's to the left of the centre circle. He moves it back to Carl Starfelt. And then he's at walking pace.
Yeah, I think from David Gray's point of view, obviously he'd be delighted that they haven't really been able to test Matt Macy in the goal, apart from that deflection really in the one shot.
Yeah, here's Taylor, left hand side of the Hibs box, crosses in, headed away by Newell, and then caught in the volley by Juranovic, but not caught on the volley at all well, and he shanks it wide of that right hand post. Yeah. No goals at Hampden, we've played 20.
Yeah, I was going to say just on that point, even though Celtic have got lots and lots of the ball and controlling the game, the Hibs have just sort of backed off and kept it fairly compact. I know the point about maybe pushing high up the pitch and trying to put a bit more pressure on, but so far 0-0, I think he'd be quite happy with that.
Absolutely. Well, I think David Gray will just want Hibs to just get their foot on the ball a little bit and try and keep a little bit of pressure, because the more and more Celtic come, at some point you've got to think something's going to drop in the box for a Kyogo, for a Turnbull, maybe for a shot for distance. They need to try and get a hold of the ball and maybe play a little bit more in Celtic's half.
Yeah, Hibs doing a bit of attacking there, and Carter Vickers has fouled young Josh Campbell. That's going to be a free kick to Hibs, and it's maybe about 6 yards from this near side touchline, midway inside Celtic territory, and a chance for Joe Newell to swing this into the Celtic box.
Sorry, Liam, these are the situations now, even though you haven't been in the game, can you get up, can you put pressure on this Celtic defence from the set piece, and then swinging cross free kick from out on the right hand side here, get the big guys in.
They've led so many goals from set plays recently. In comes the free kick from Newell, and then it's headed behind. Goal kick's come off a Hibs head there. Made a brief appeal for a corner kick there. 21 and a half played. Hibs 0, Celtic 0. Under the lights here at the National Stadium. Perhaps Joe Newell would change tack if he had that one again.
Yeah, I thought he could have bent it in a little bit. He had almost a straight free kick. You've got to have absolute accuracy on that. Bend it in towards and top of the goalkeeper. I don't see Joe Hart coming for too many crosses. That area is almost an area that you can exploit.
I think he's it looked like they were working on something there, because normally Joe Newell's delivery is that type of delivery, whether it be a corner or a free kick. He's got wonderful pace and accuracy with that left foot delivery. So it looked like they were actually working on something, maybe for a Ryan Porter spin at that moment.
Here comes Celtic up the other end with Turnbull up against Porteous, finds Johnston out wide left. Johnston up against McGinn. They're going to get past him. McGinn stands his ground, goes behind the line. That will be a corner to Celtic. Hibs, I think, we're expecting a goal kick to be given there. I kind of felt it was a bit 50-50. Paul McGinn seemed happy to let it trickle behind the byline.
Yeah, looked a corner to me there, Packy. I just don't know what Paul was doing there. He felt he probably should have dealt with that situation rather than taking the chance.
You took the words out of my mouth. I thought he should have reacted and at least tried to clear it, and then called for a goal kick.
In comes the corner. It's a good one. Starfelt's header. He can't get anything on it, really. It just flashes off the front of his head and wide the right-hand post. It's a glorious chance. And Kyogo was in there as well, inside the 6-yard area. Neither of them could profit, and it stays Hibs 0, Celtic 0.
I'm just looking here to see, was there a bit of blocking on no, I think he's lost him. I don't know.
Taylor went down under pressure from McGinn.
Yeah, but I don't know whether it was it Porteous that was shouting or
well,
Paul
McGinn. He's got both hands on the Celtic player's back before he went down. Greg Taylor. Kenny?
I think, listen, again, it is contact. Maybe if in Barza and that might get looked at, and you might get the decision. I just felt Kyogo went a little bit late. He was almost on the end of that, on the back post on the flick, but he just seemed to hesitate for a little moment.
But the hold that was left for Starfield to get free was quite incredible in the middle of the box. He should have scored, actually.
Yeah, here comes Celtic again. McGregor for Turnbull, slips it forward to Johnston. He's in the box, he's on the right foot, has to face away from goal, and then he passes it away. Turnbull, he was expecting Turnbull to be there, he wasn't. Turnbull's actually stretching just now. I think he's in a bit of bother. Keep an eye on that as McGregor thumps it out for a throw into Hibs down on this near side. I think they're going to have to get some attention to David Turnbull here. He's limping pretty heavily from what I can see. 24 played 0-0.
Yeah, he's down now. I don't know whether surely not another hamstring.
He's clutching at the hamstring again. He was stretching at the hamstring again. It doesn't look good for David Turnbull, and he's screaming. Actually, I don't think he's in agony. I think it's more in frustration with the fact that he feels he probably needs to come off here.
Yeah, he's clutching at his toes, which isn't a good sign, and obviously if it's cramp, but a cramp early in this game, I doubt it.
Yeah.
But certainly.
Well, Nir Beaton is amongst these. Yeah, there he goes. He's going to be on shortly. Nir Beaton.
That'll just mean Callum McGregor will probably push that a little bit higher. Beaton will come in and just sit in front of the back too.
It was after he passed it through to Johnston in the box. Johnston then had to turn away from goal, passed it out thinking Turnbull would be there, and David Turnbull not injured himself. He would have been in that position wide left of the Hibs box, but as it is, he is on the deck receiving treatment on the pitch, so there's a stoppage in play. Nir Beaton will be readied. Plenty experience of Hampden playing for club and country. He's been here with Israel almost as often as he's been here with Celtic. And it will be Beaton for Turnbull, who I mentioned, Pack, he hasn't hit the heights in recent games, but it's still a blow, isn't it?
I think, is he going to come back on? He's right on the touchline. He's talking to the manager, the physio. No, they've taken him off. And Beaton will be on, so it's a huge disappointment for the young man. But again, you're talking about...
he's upset as well, yeah.
If it is a hamstring, it would be quite incredible. That's probably about 4 or 5 hamstrings now in the last number of games.
It's something they need to look at, Packy, because there's too many. I think pretty much every attacking player has had some kind of soft tissue injury, and a lot of them, like you say, have been hamstring injuries.
Yeah, there was no question. I think that obviously the manager made his mind up. He's not going to risk him. Turnbull wanted to come back on there, I think, but it's a long season, and you don't want to exacerbate the injury more than is already the case. 26 played 0-0.
I think he knew as well. I think David Turnbull knew straight away that it wasn't right and he was going to need to come off. So I think Andrews made the right call. Just get him off, take that decision out of his hands, get him off and make sure he's going to be right maybe for a few weeks rather than maybe 6 or 8.
There have been 9 hat-tricks scored in the Scottish League Cup final. 2 of them came in the one game between these two. In 1974, Dixie Deans and Joey Harper trading hat-tricks. Celtic won 6-3. Here comes Juranovic down the right-hand side for Abada up the Hibs box. Abada gets the ball in, way too close to Macy at the near post, and it will stay Hibs 0, Celtic 0, almost on 27.
No, not a good cross from Abada. 1v1 situation, you'd expect better quality from him in that position. He's on the edge of the box, down beside the byline, and he just lays it straight into Matt Macy's hands.
Celtic scored 6 in that 74 final. They also scored 6 in the 69 final. Hibs, of course, won the one in the middle. Eddie Turnbull's team beating Jock Stein's side. And Celtic would get their revenge a couple of years later in that game I mentioned.
Yeah, I don't think Turnbull going off will upset Celtic in the fluency that they have, because, you know, Beaton has slotted in and played that position with McGregor moving further forward. I don't think it'll take too much away from the Celtic team.
He's visibly upset sitting in the stand there now, David Turnbull. The camera's just shown him just come off, and here's the man who's replaced him, Beaton, striding forward across halfway out to Johnston on the left as we approach 28 goalless minutes. Callum McGregor with a low ball into the Hibs box. Kyogo well marshalled by Hanlon, who gets it away. Terrific defending from Paul Hanlon again.
Good positioning again, and you know, he's in front of Kyogo, which you've got to be. Kyogo was a little bit on his heels on that occasion. Normally you see him darting in front of defenders, but I think it's down to the good defending from Paul Hanlon again. Good positioning.
Abada showing too much of the ball to Stevenson over on that far side. I think a free kick's been given here for a foul by Abada on the Hibs left back. 28.5 minutes, no goals at the National Stadium.
I must say, for all their possession, all Celtic's possession, Hibs will be pretty happy. They've not created too much. The defensive unit's not really been breached, and if it has been, it's been more in a wider area, and they've managed to snuff out the danger, or Paul Hanlon's been in a really good position to deal with the cross. So all they'll be looking for is they're going to need to take effect to get better in an attacking sense soon.
Hibs doing some attacking. The cross from the left goes straight to Joe Hart. Celtic enjoying 75% of the possession in this final so far.
If I was, I'd be trying to get Martin Boyle up higher up the pitch where he can affect the game where we know he's best. We've seen him in the semi-final against Rangers, making runs beyond. At the moment, he's been a figure who's been on the periphery of the game. You know, he's doing too much to probably work back the way rather than going forward where he's absolute best.
On their first home game in 5 attempts on Tuesday. Of course, Celtic left it late, very late in Dingwall to beat County. Here's Boyle for Hibs in the centre circle, the driving forwards. Wonderful pace from Martin Boyle. Still he goes. Brilliant slight challenge for Carter Vickers. Breaks the Nisbet though. Very clever ball. Couldn't quite get it into the stride of Josh Campbell as he floated it into the left-hand side of the box. And he was behind for a goal kick. That, Kenny, is what you've just been talking about.
Well, it was right on cue, wasn't it? Martin Boyle picking the ball up and a counter-attacking opportunity and driving right at the heart of the Celtics defence. And this time he got tackled, but it drops to Nisbet, who played a really, really good ball across to Campbell, who had made a forward run. It was just maybe a half a foot or so just ahead of Josh Campbell.
Here comes Callum McGregor for Celtic. Goal side of Joe Newell. Plays it short to Rogic, slips it through to Kyogo, who's offside. He was on the spin, shot blocked anyway. And that'll be a free kick to Hibs. Kyogo over the shoulders, slumped there. We played 30.5 minutes. Hibs 0, Celtic 0 at Hampden.
Yeah, it was a good breakout by Celtic after that scare that they had initially, but Kyogo had just gone too early. When Tom Rogic was in a great position, he elected to pass the ball to him. I thought he even could have taken it on himself and maybe had a shot when he recognised that Kyogo had gone too early. But the assistant raised the flag, and that's his job. But going back to the chance that with Boyle breaking forward, what it does, it drags then Carter Vickers out of his position. He had to go and make a brilliant tackle, by the way, on him, but then he's out of position. in that right hand side of Celtic's defence, and they nearly exploited it.
There's his semi-final hat-trick hero Boyle, playing it short to Doyle Hayes, back to Porteous, chips the ball up towards the edge of the Celtic penalty area, headed away by Carter Vickers, then helped on its way by Abada for Rogic. She slips it to McGregor, and Celtic have men over, but it's a good block there. The big long left leg of Paul Hanlon prevents that getting out to that right hand side where Abada and Juranovic were. And Celtic pick up with Juranovic again over on the far side, level with the edge of the centre circle for Beaton, short to Taylor, who moves it right to left of the centre circle there for Starfelt, who strides forward, rolls it to Rogic, too much in the pass though, and now it's Doyle Hayes who goes back to his keeper, and Macy with the clearance. A lot of height, not as much distance as he would have liked on that. Boyle can't get a head onto it. Taylor knocks it down the line, but that's going to go harmlessly behind for the goal kick. 32 minutes played. Hibs 0, Celtic 0. David Gray standing down there, hands in pockets. Will be pretty content with the way it stands right now. 32 in, nothing each. Celtic have not been able to make hay when they've had all the ball and all the pressure. Matt Macy's made a couple of saves, one of which was offside in any case from I think it was Kyogo, wasn't it? The initial shot from Taylor as the Hibs keeper prepares to take the goal kick here in his luminous pink outfit, along with the right foot into the Celtic half. It goes, Carter Vickers leaps, heads away, then Stevenson in the centre circle, first time along the deck to the left for Murphy, as Murphy tries to test Juranovic. The overlapping Stevenson now, left foot ball comes in, headed away there by Celtic. It was a combination, I think, of Beaton and Carter Vickers. It's away, and now Celtic are heading on the counter. It's Juranovic, turns it into the centre circle area for Rogic, who's driving forward. Really good challenge there by Doyle Hayes, but it's taking it straight to Johnston, who fires the ball into the box. It's a poor cross though, and it's cleared by Porteous first time. Beaton up into the air again, flicked on by Rogic, who goes down. John Beaton gives the free kick. It's his second League Cup final, John Beaton. He did their 3-0 win over Aberdeen in 2016, and he's just awarded Celtic a free kick left to centre, midway inside the Hibs half. Nothing each here.
Yes, Mikey Johnson is down from Celtic's perspective. I'm not too sure who the Hibs player, both of them clashed heads. Doyle Hayes, I think it is it. I think it's Doyle Hayes.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, who's a bit of a terrier in the middle of the pitch, obviously clashing heads, but he was a little bit late, and Celtic have the free kick.
Yeah, Jake Doyle Hayes from County Cavan, I think.
Ballyjames stuff.
Yeah,
believe it or not. A stronghold of Gaelic football, as Tom knows, and for a young man to make it out of that area and become a really good player for Hibs is quite extraordinary.
Yeah, he was at Aston Villa and he had a good season at St Mirren last term. Meanwhile though, Celtic free kick, as I say, left to centre. It's in an attacking position though. Juranovic takes it right-footed, bends it into the box, headed away by Porteous, and then it doesn't break for Rogic. It's bounced back off a Hibs player. Now Boyle gets away from Juranovic, who hauls him down, and a yellow card will be shown to the Celtic right back here for that challenge on Hibs number 10 as we approach the final 10 minutes of the first half. It's the first booking of the 21-22 League Cup final, and it goes to Josip Juranovic of Celtic.
Yeah, I think he knew what he was doing there, Juranovic, because he was caught out of position, obviously over this left-hand side, and he was up against obviously Martin Boyle, who's got the pace. He was kind of on that sort of almost role of counter-attacking with pace, and he brings that to an end, and I think he takes the yellow card for it.
I think that's what you call a tactical foul. So it's a good yellow he's taken there. He's stopped a potential dangerous counter-attack with Martin Boyle running at the Celtic backlock.
Porteous takes it, flicked on by Murphy. It goes straight to Juranovic again, who finds Beaton. Juranovic firing it into the feet of Abada. He's in a central area, right to the centre circle. Looks to flip it out to this near side for Johnston. Didn't have the pace on it though. It's a comfortable header back to his goalkeeper by Paul McGinn, looking to emulate his brother John in winning silverware in Hibs colours. Chances last season, Scottish Cup in particular, they lost to St Johnstone. What breaks for McGregor, who goes back the way to Taylor. It's a little short ball to Starfelt, works the 1-2, they give and go back to Taylor, forward to Kyogo. Kyogo's in the halfway line, into the Hibs half he goes, brought to the ground cynically as well by Doyle Hayes, and he himself is yellow carded. The first Hibs player booked, it's Jake Doyle Hayes. He's having a go at Paul Hanlon and Ryan Porteous there. He felt them not being in the position he wanted them to be in, left him with no option but to make that cynical challenge.
And I think he's right. I don't think Paul Hanlon and Ryan Porteous can allow the striker to come off unchallenged there. That's their job. They've got one guy to look after, one go, the other cover. It's pretty straightforward. They can't get the ball into his feet. As simple as that. When the midfield they're trying to press onto players and do work, they can't cover that as well.
Here's Johnston for Celtic. He's wriggled himself into some space. Little disguised ball into the box. Rogic can't get there. Ahead of Macy, who goes down at the feet of the Australian and clutches onto it. 36.5 played. Hibs 0, Celtic 0.
What I would say to you, Liam, is that I think Celtic have been sort of their final ball in the final third has been poor today so far. They've built up play, has been good. They've got into good positions, but they haven't been able to hit that pass or that killer pass. Even the crosses haven't been very good at the moment in this game. But it's only early.
Last season was Celtic's first trophyless season since 2010. Looking to rectify that this afternoon. As Abada picks up and plays it short to Rogic. Brought down by Newell. Free kick Celtic. And this, it's about, well, maybe 20, almost 30 yards from goal. But it's right to centre. And it's again in an attacking position for the favourites.
I mean, it's a dangerous position. I mean, it's maybe, I think it's just close enough where you could be looking at a shot. It's a good distance to get it up and down over that wall. Celtic have got a player with that kind of special kind of technique to get it up and down, but again, it's dangerous position for Hibs. And the way Tom Rogic just receives the ball, you know, whether it be his left foot or his right foot, he's always aware of the pressure, always takes it away, and he buys these free kicks. Or he's a big lad as well, Pack. He can just roll you, and next minute he's driving at a back line. So, well, dangerous position for Hibs.
It might well be a blaster from near Beaton rather than anything else here. Beaton's the only candidate. There's a Hibs wall which has 4 in it, standing just off the 18-yard line. Here comes Beaton, right-footed, disguised, slips it low to Kyogo, challenging Campbell, and it goes behind. Goal kick's been given, I think, here, yeah. Kyogo wagging his finger at the linesman over on the far side, but it is a goal kick. No, he can't believe it. Josh Campbell did his job there. Beaton, we're all set for the blaster from near Beaton, but he just side-footed it into the right-hand side of the box for Kyogo, who was well marshalled by Josh Campbell, who continues to impress.
Well, they set up a 4-man wall, and Kyogo sort of stood beside the wall, and then when he can almost checked away from the wall down the side of it, there was nobody free to go with him. It was actually a decent idea, except his touch was very poor. That allowed then the man on the outside of the wall to get back and almost get a block, and maybe a wee bit wider. If he had to go a little bit wider, he might have been sort of in a better position to go and have a chance of controlling it, the shot on target.
Celtic haven't lost a game at Hampden since April 2016. Rangers beat them on penalties in that Scottish Cup semi. They then went on that extraordinary domestic cup tie run. Since then, they've played 17 here, won all 17, scored 41 and conceded just 9. That includes, I think they shipped a couple against Hibs twice in semi-finals of this tournament. They don't concede often at the National Stadium. So that's rolled back to Starfelt. Certainly since that Rangers victory, Kenny played in that one.
Yeah, it was a good day for us that day. It was obviously won on penalties, but
it was Tom Rogic missed the decisive one,
absolutely
wasn't it?
It was, but since then Celtic have been on an absolutely incredible run of form in the domestic cups, obviously taken away from last season. Game after game, been so consistent and so relentless in their pursuit for success. It was, had it not been on the receiving end of a few defeats, it would have been impressive.
Yeah, he more than made up for it a year later for himself. That's the goal that sealed the invincible treble against Aberdeen in the Scottish Cup final the following year. Meant so much more to Rogic, having skied that penalty 13 months before. Here comes Celtic 0-0. Carter Vickers short to Taylor. He's in a central position. Ange Postecoglou likes his fullbacks to go into those kinds of pockets. It's played by McGregor out to Johnston on the near side, midway inside the Hibs half. Slips it forward to Taylor, gets it back to Johnston, who's driving into the penalty area now. Mikey Johnston runs in to Joe Newell, and the referee has given Hibs a free kick. It's a foul by Johnston on Newell, as it was actually Newell's challenge, but the follow-up from Johnston was illegal, says John Beaton, who had the best view of anyone inside Hampden Park. But in the final 5 minutes, almost the final 4 minutes of the first half, of the League Cup final. It's still nothing each between these two. Celtic bossing possession.
Yeah,
no goals.
Yeah, that's the point. I think they've controlled the game quite well. They've lots of possession, but in the final third, I think they've been a little bit wasteful. Hibs just so far, apart from that run really from Martin Boyle, have never really been able to go and get a grip of the ball, a grip of the game, and go and test Celtic's defence. But they're in this game because it's 0-0, and they'll be happy with that.
If you want to get a result of Celtic, is Hanlon has to try and get back. Kyogo gets there first. Down goes Kyogo, left hand side of the box. John Beaton unmoved, goal kick. Well, it's Kyogo. He got there ahead of Matt Macy, who'd come out to try and bail out his defenders, and the Japanese goes to ground. But there is no penalty, and there is no suggestion that
he's just
Kyogo,
lost his
he's kind of
balance.
tripped himself up, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's just lost his balance. You'll see it. We've just seen it on the replay here. He's almost lost his footing.
I think he's preparing for contact. The contact doesn't come, and he was completely off balance. Like, no contact, no penalty. Good decision by the referee.
Matt Macy clears. It's now with Campbell, who goes down, fouled by Beaton, right of the centre circle.
Just to touch on Packy's quick comment earlier about Celtic in the final third, like, some of Mikey Johnson's play has been so good, like really positive, getting at his man, playing a 1-2 there with Greg Taylor, his fullback, but there has to be an end product. You know, if he wants to go and he wants to get a regular place in this Celtic starting lineup, he needs to be getting shots away there or playing the pass earlier.
Chip free kick towards the edge of the Celtic box is mopped up by Juranovic, goes back to Joe Hart, who's not really been tested at all, not even had too many crosses to deal with. David Gray, that'll be the thing that will be annoying him. They've not really posed an attacking threat. Hibs, here comes Celtic looking to do that. It's Beaton. Beaton goes down, two behind him. Free kick Celtic, yellow cards out again. I'm not sure who the recipient is. Was it Kevin Nisbet? I think it was Nisbet who's been booked there. And it will be a free kick to Celtic again. It's a little bit closer than the one that Beaton took a moment or two ago, but it's still just beyond the 25-yard mark here. 43 played 0-0.
Yeah, it was a good run from Beaton. He beat his man and he then went and exploited the space. He was never going to get any further forward. I think somebody was going to take him out. Was Kevin? He was yellow carded on that occasion. Probably a good yellow card again, not to allow Beaton, because he has a strike in him when he gets closer to goal.
It's Juranovic taking this one. We know how good he is from the penalty spot. How good will he be from this position? Does he have a pop at goal? Matt Macy's just standing off his goal line. He's in the centre of his goal, the 6-yard box. Juranovic waits to take, right footed, there he goes. It's over the bar, and it will stay Hibs 0, Celtic 0 as we approach the final minute of the first half at Hampden. Strange final in many ways.
It is, lots of possession for Celtic. I'm sure David Gray will be absolutely delighted to get through the first half and really confine Celtic to maybe 2 or 3 shots. Nothing really, not a, getting in behind. They haven't really got in behind the Hibs defence.
Packy, if you want to get something off Celtic, whether it's a cup tie or a league game, just watch the 90 minutes that Livingston put in at Celtic Park. I know they gave away a penalty late on. It was saved in any case. But Livingston kept Celtic at arm's length the vast majority of that match, limited them in front of goal.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say it's like that today in many ways, because Celtic, I think, have played quite well.
They'd even more of the ball that day,
yeah, they've more of the ball. It's just they packed the defence. I think they played 3 at the back, Livingston, that day, and they just allowed Celtic to put balls into the box. Celtic don't have height in the box, so it's about movement in the box if you're going to put balls in, but they've got to be good balls. Let's see how this pans out, but half time is coming very shortly.
This is a chance for Hibs if they can get Murphy in. It's played to Nisbet in the centre circle. Now it reaches Jamie Murphy, left hand side of the penalty area, driving forwards. We go into the first of 2 minutes of injury time. Murphy's halted by Carter Vickers, rolls it to Stevenson, little back heel for Murphy, he loses it, and Celtic are now looking to pick them off in the counter. Driving down that right, Sabada across the halfway line, rolls it into a central area for McGregor. McGregor runs into trouble, he goes down. Just an advantage given to Celtic here. Here's Juranovic, slips it forward, but it's straight to Hanlon inside the Hibs box, and it's played short to Doyle Hayes, who will leather it clear with the right foot across the halfway line. Comes off Nisbet's head, will go out for a throw in on the far side. We played 45.5 minutes now. We're into, as I say, the first of 2 minutes that have been added on by John Beaton at the end of this first half, probably mostly to accommodate that injury sustained by David Turnbull as he was replaced by Nir Beaton earlier on. And Hibs have managed to shave a couple of percentages off the possession, a couple of percentage numbers down to 73 in Celtic's favour now, as Carter Vickers plays it short to Greg Taylor, right of the centre circle, and he shifts out to that right hand side. He's found himself in the exact opposite area of the pitch from where he is posted as John Beaton blows his whistle. So a free kick's been given, I think, out on that far side. Yeah, I think it's for the challenge on Abada. So Celtic will get the final chance, Kenny Miller, of this first half. Nothing each.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll put this in the box. It might be the last kick of the first half. Again, something that Hibs will need to see out, and all in all, it'll been a decent first half for Hibs. That I said before, I think they'll want to take more of an attacking threat going into the second half, but job done.
Juranovic will take it right-footed, and it comes headed away by Stevenson. Now it drops to McGregor. McGregor looks up at the Hibs box, chips it in, looking for Kyogo. It's too high for Kyogo. He's gone down again inside the area, and he's being booed by the Hibs supporters. I feel he's making a bit of a meal of these. We've played the 2 minutes. Kenny.
Yeah, I think listen, he's offside firstly, but he does go down very easily, Kyogo. Any kind of touch, I mean, the Hibs defender just sees him under the ball, and there was no way Kyogo was going to get it, you know. And the Hibs players are not happy with him just coming off the pitch there. That's probably the second or third time they've seen him maybe go down in those situations a little bit too easy.
Hear the music in the background. John Beaton blew the half-time whistle in the middle of all that, middle of the Hibs fans booing. They're very much in this game. You just wonder if they're just trying to take as many little jabs as they can. I think Ange Postecoglou was talking about jabs earlier on in this tournament, maybe after the semi-final, can't quite remember, but they've taken a few jabs in the first half of Hibs. They've managed to weather most of what Celtic have thrown at them. In truth, Matt Macy has made a couple of saves, but nothing really dramatically. Paul Hanlon knocked one off the line, or just about off the line, but the offside flag had already gone up at that point, that coming at a point where Macy had saved but spilled. The flag had gone up to save him, but Hibs, now and again, they've managed to get Martin Boyle engaged, but nowhere near often enough for David Gray's liking. He'll want to see more of that in the second half. Half-time in the 21-22 Scottish League Cup final. It's Hibernian 0, Celtic 0.
The Scottish League Cup final.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Back into the group of the net.
This Christmas Day, join me, Cathy MacDonald and Tony Kearney from 8 as we share our island memories of Christmas and winters past.
As the presents get opened, I'll soundtrack the morning with your requests. That's Get It On at Christmas with me, Brian Burnett, from 9.
We're simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
And the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra is at the movies after the Queen's speech at 4. Join me, Jamie McDougall, and our amazing orchestra for some of the silver screen's most famous songs.
Some of the highlights this Christmas Day on BBC Radio Scotland.
This is BBC Radio Scotland. You're listening to full live commentary from Hampden Park. It is the Premier Sports Cup final, of course. The Scottish League Cup final, the first major silverware of the season, will be handed out. And right now, we are no closer to knowing whether it will go to Paul Hanlon or to Callum McGregor at the end of play in England. One match is finished. It was Newcastle United 0, Manchester City 4. Ruben Diaz, João Cancelo, Riyad Mahrez, and then Raheem Sterling at the end of that one. And almost over at Molineux, Wolves 0, Chelsea 0. Chelsea's title challenge stuttering somewhat at the moment. Still to come in England, Spurs against Liverpool getting underway at 4:30. 0-0 half-time. Willie Miller, I remember chatting to you yesterday about that Dundee Hearts game, suggesting it might not be one that will live long in your memory. There's the only thing that's distinguished this game from that is that this is a cup final.
Yeah, Roger, it's been disappointing, isn't it? I must admit, I wasn't expecting it to be as this flat. I thought there would be more penalty box action. There hasn't been. Celtic have been largely predictable, not very difficult to defend against. I think their two wingers have had plenty of the ball, you know, Mikey Johnson in particular, but haven't really done anything with it. You know, the composure, everything's about, you know, maybe taking on players, but when they're taking on fullbacks, they tend to be going inside and running into more bodies, more Hibs bodies, and again, Paul Hanlon's been outstanding for me at the back for Hibs. And when the wide players have got into wide areas towards the byline, the crosses into the box have been really poor, pretty pathetic actually. You need a bit of quality, you need a bit of class, you need a bit of precision to find your lone striker, Kyogo, who's had barely anything in terms of real clear-cut opportunities. Listen, Celtic have dominated the ball, dominated possession. Hibs obviously have set out to try and frustrate them and always be in the game, and I would think that the tactic from David Gray looks as though be in the game for as long as possible and then try to maybe test the nerves of Celtic towards the end of this game, maybe the last 15 minutes or so, if Celtic can't find the key to unlock the defensive formation that he's put in front of them. But who's going to produce that for Celtic? I mean, the two wide players for me they just seem to lack inspiration, lack quality, lack composure, and their crosses into the box and their direction of play at times just bemuses me, and it's so easy to defend against. When they've been in areas where they've had 1v1s against fullbacks and they haven't taken the opportunity to go by them. So that area I think must be concerning. They haven't really been tested at the back, Celtic, have they?
No.
It's been pretty straightforward for them, and they haven't been tested because David Gray hasn't unleashed the power that he's got there, and Martin Boyle and Murphy and Nisbet's been a very lone striker up there ploughing a furrow that is very difficult to plough when you're up against two strong central defenders. So all in all, disappointing, no goals, very few goal-mouth efforts. The goalkeepers have hardly had anything to do, and that's not what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be much more livelier in the penalty boxes, so disappointing for the fans that are here having to watch it.
It's been highly typical, Tom, hasn't it, of Celtic of late. They've had 73% possession today. In other matches they've had 74, 75, 76%, but actually they just seem to be lacking that clinical touch in the box that they had for a period of time.
Yeah, I mean, before the match I listed all the games that they've won narrowly domestically. 5 out of the last 6 domestically they've won by a goal, and they've played well in some of those games. They've created a lot of chances and all the rest of them, but the fact is they've won by a goal, and they haven't looked like scoring a goal today at all.
And they haven't played particularly well today either, have they?
They haven't. No, I mean, everything Willie says I agree with. I think they've been pretty flat. I think the two wide players, Abada and Mikey Johnston, started pretty well, but then they faded out of it. The delivery has been poor. Kyogo's not in the match at all, apart from ending up on the deck quite easily on a couple of occasions.
Just on that, I mean, one of them, I think it's fair to say, he did simply lose balance. I mean, it was in the box. There was a big shout from the Celtic fans, one or two of the players for a penalty. There's one in the box where he allowed himself to crumple to the ground. I know Ange Postecoglou took umbrage at the suggestion that people were making that he could possibly stay on his feet a bit more often than he does. I mean, we're seeing it week in, week out when he's playing, aren't we?
It's unarguable. Look, I mean, all of these things can be absolutely true. That he's targeted by defenders, that he's a fantastic footballer, but that he goes down very easily. All of those things are true. We're not casting aspersions at his ability or his capacity to take tough tackles or unfair tackles from defenders, but he does go down easily. And that's a fact. We've seen it. There's too much evidence now. That said, I think Celtic might have had a penalty.
Which one?
Taylor from the corner.
Yeah.
Handling, little push on Taylor. Maybe Hibbs a bit lucky on that one. With 2 hands on his back.
Yeah, as the ball is splashed across, the referee's attention is clearly attracted to, I guess, the Starfelt who's coming in, and who actually has a free header from 6 yards out, misses the ball completely, and then Kyogo misses it at the back post. But I must admit, I didn't see exactly what happened in the front, but the guys in commentary were saying that had there been VAR, they feel there could have been a penalty given.
Well, look, it was just 2 hands on his back, and Taylor goes down, and listen, I've seen a million penalties given for a lot less than that. So maybe they dodged a bullet there. But that's, Celtic have been very poor. Hibs haven't created anything. They haven't put any risk into the game at all. But they're defending really well and really comfortably. So maybe that's the plan, to keep it tight for as long as possible and then maybe try and sucker punch Celtic.
We've only once seen Martin Boyle And as the great David Coleman once I think it was Coleman, wasn't it, commentated, open his legs and shows his class. He took unbelievable. Just left 3 Celtic players in his wake. Little chip ball, and it was inches away, Willie, from allowing Hibernian in. That is the only time they have offered anything up front, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's been really disappointing, I think, but maybe that's a game plan, Richard. Maybe that's what David Gray set out to do, is not to unleash the power of Martin Boyle and Murphy on the other side as well, because both of them have got it within them to cause defensive problems. I think it was Carter Vickers' tackle, wasn't it, in Boyle? It was a really good tackle. When the one that Boyle's going through the middle, it was a really good challenge from him. But yeah, I mean, when you've got that kind of a weapon at your disposal, then you've got to try and use it more, haven't you? And they just haven't done enough. But in saying that, listen, this is a cup final. It's half time, it's 0-0, they're in the game. The last thing they want to do is go down 1, because it's then a huge task for them to get back into this game. They'll take their chance, and I think by the looks of it, it's looking like Hibs, I think, will leave it until the last 10-15 minutes before they start to say to Murphy and Boyle to actually get a little bit further up the park, because all the work they've done has been back the way. They've been sitting really deep as well. It's working perfectly defensively, but up front, nothing at all.
So do you think Ron Gordon will be enjoying this style of football?
Well, when is the cut-off point? Is it before the game or after the game?
A new chapter starts tomorrow.
The chapter is tomorrow, so it's tomorrow. But he can't possibly be happy with that if he wants to. This is a dilemma, isn't it? It's okay for chairman and owners to say that they want. If you gave them the alternative, do you want a boring cup final and lift the trophy, or do you want an exciting cup final and the opposition to take the trophy? I don't know what they would say to you, Richard. I really don't.
I think you do.
I know what I would say to them. But because they send out these messages that they want open, attractive football, when really you've got to say to the manager, listen, that's your job, Mr. Manager. You go out there and you shape your side up the way you think is the most effective to lift this trophy. And I think that's what David Gray's doing. I really do think he's doing it. He's holding them back. I do hope that if it stays this way, that he unleashes them towards the end of the game, and that tactic might just work.
I kind of understand that. I've heard this so many times, right? We'll hold them till 80th minute, and then we'll give the attacking players, the skillful players, give them license to roam a little bit at that point. You're doing that from 0-0. It'd be quite good to do that from 1-0 up, actually. Anyway,
but they're trying to play on the counter, Hibs, but they haven't got the ball.
But they've done that. We've seen Hibs do that many times, and they just simply haven't. There've been nothing in terms of possession, and nothing that's allowed them to spring those counter-attacks, apart from that one occasion.
Listen, they've had nothing. They've had, I don't know what possession the stats are like, but they have mounted precious little going forward.
Actually, it's been a dreadful cup final, hasn't it?
It's been lousy.
Yeah,
there hasn't been a proper chance in it, really.
No.
See, as well as not allowing the Murphy and Boyle to get up close to Nisbet, the other 3 midfield players are concentrating solely on trying to stop the Celtic midfield 3 as well.
Yeah.
So
I feel for Turnbull as well. That was one of the
clearly visibly upset.
Now you look at that Turnbull. I mean, it's an attritional style of play and a style of training that Postecoglou has, right? And he said that himself. And Turnbull on the list of most played club players in the world this season, Turnbull is 6th in the world. It's his 34th game for his club today.
Wow.
37 in total, including 3 for Scotland. Celtic picking up a lot of soft tissue injuries. Well, you're going to do that if you're playing that number of games, plus that number of intense training sessions. I do feel for him, because he was in bits when he came off. He was very upset.
I think we can be guaranteed will we not be getting a repeat of that 6-3 League Cup final Liam mentioned between these two. We might be hanging on for even a single goal in the next 45 minutes. Find out which way it goes, if indeed it comes. If it doesn't, it'll be extra time, potentially penalties, to decide who lifts the Premier Sports Cup for this season. Back to live commentary here on Sportsound and BBC Radio Scotland with Kenny Miller, Pat Bonner and Liam McLeod.
Well, the League Cup final has only finished goalless 4 times. 47-48, 56-57, 79-80 and 13-14. The most recent one at Celtic Park. John Beaton just about ready to get the second half underway. The players are ready. The broadcasting television Premier Sports are not quite ready yet. They've just come out of an ad break, so there'll be a little delay to the start of the second half. In fairness, the players were out after 13 minutes of a break there. 2 minutes were added on at the end, but we are just about ready to go. No further changes. Near Beaton came on for David Turnbull in that first half. Hibs starting the second half with the same 11 that started the game. Macy in goal with McGinn, Porteous, Hanlon and Stevenson across the back. Doyle, Hayes, Newell, Campbell in the middle, with Boyle, Nisbet and Murphy up front. Celtic with Hart in goal, Juranovic, Carter Vickers, Starfelt and Taylor, Turnbull, Beaton, Rogic and McGregor. Turnbull, of course, off. Abada and Johnston either side of Kyogo. So Hibs will get the second half underway. They are all in white, smart looking kit with the green pinstripes down the front of the jersey. Celtic in their dark green and gold change colour. I think it is their third choice kit. And John Beaton has his arms outstretched at his fourth official, who's Greg Aitken, asking why can't I kick off? Well, they can now. The first whistle of the second half, 0-0 in the first major cup final of this season. Long ball for Hibs as they go right to left, attacking the west stand where their supporters are based primarily, over on this left-hand side. And Hibs win the throw-in down on the near side with Stevenson. Celtic shooting east in the second half. It's with Stevenson down the line for Newell, taking on Abada. Out to play it goes. It'll be a throw-in to Hibernian. We're beginning the second half where David Gray will want to be seeing his team play more of the game than they did in the first. It's now with Newell getting it from Stevenson outside of the boot, finds Doyle Hayes, couldn't quite work it back to Joe Newell in the box, and now it's straight to Juranovic, who's driving forward, rolls it forward into the path of Kyogo, couldn't quite get it out to the far shoulder, has made it there because there was a slip from Porteous. Now Kyogo's in the box, he shoots Hanlon with a brilliant challenge, and he's having a right go at someone down there. Ryan Porteous was the player who slipped as Celtic looked to pick them off in the counter, and it will go behind for the corner, and that coming from a Hibs attack.
Well, it was a good counter-attack, wasn't it? I'm wondering, there was a delayed reaction from Porteous when he went across. I think he might have tripped him. Did he trip himself?
I think Kyogo's just clipped him as he's running past. It was completely accidental, but I think they just clipped him.
Yeah. To be taken by Juranovic over on that left-hand side. The Celtic left in with a right foot. It drops into the 6-yard box. Hibs have enough bodies in the way. Celtic trying to continue this. Johnston is cleared. Porteous slid in on Mikey Johnston there. If he'd timed that worse than he did, he may well have brought Johnston clattering to the ground. It was John Beaton who awarded Rangers that late penalty at Easter Road in that recent game between Hibs and Rangers in the league, which was converted by Roof. The Celtic come down the left with Taylor. It's cut out though.
Yeah, just going back to that last chance, what a great tackle though from Hanlon again, getting across and really when Kyogo's in a great position to have the strike, and he dived in and had a great block on it.
Doesn't seem that long ago that Paul Hanlon was where Ryan Porteous is right now as far as breaking into the Hibs team. As Taylor picks up on the far side, he's going to let it go out for a throw-in to Celtic. It's a bit level with the edge of the D of the Hibs box. And it's Greg Taylor, starter today. It's always been the case in recent times. He gets it back immediately on the far side up against Boyle. Taylor looking for some space, rolls it short there, and then there's a thunderous challenge there at the right angle of the box, and the players from both sides are on the ground. I think it's Johnston's the Celtic player, is it?
Yes, Johnston's down. I'm not too sure who.
I think it's Paul McGinn.
Is it Paul McGinn?
It is, yeah.
I think it was a foul, but both of them's going to get almost going to clash knees. I think just.
Yeah, it's a sore one.
It's a sore one on a cold day like this. So, yeah, and yeah, he's going to get treatment here because he was running on from this near side here. It's a long run for the young lady to get across and give him a little bit of treatment.
The cameras went straight to his little brother John, who's in the stand today, sitting beside his dad. And as Paul McGinn looks to emulate John McGinn and that Scottish Cup success in 2016. We won't dwell on for too long for Kenny's sake.
You've done it enough already, Liam, today. That's about the 5th mention of it. Every time I seem to be working with you keep bringing us back up.
It was a momentous day for Hibs. You keep doing Hibs games and cup finals and semis, you're going to hear it.
I'd like to touch back on Paul Hanlon, actually. I mean, there's been about 5-6 situations back in this game where the way he positions himself to cut crosses out, the way he's read the game, the 2 counter-attacks that Celtic had in the first half, he's actually ahead of it. You know, he can see it develop and he can sense the danger and he cuts out at the source. And again there, once his mate gets knocked down, clipped by Kyogo, he's across, reading the danger and snuffing out the attack with Kyogo's shot. He's had a wonderful game so far.
See that side of the Hibs defence, between him and his pal Lewis Stevenson, over 1,000 appearances for Hibernian.
I was going to say that, experience now, he's just grown into a leader of the team. Obviously he's the main guy, and I'm sure Wooly will be talking about it after the game if they win this cup, and he's already mentioned it at half time, his position and the way that he's gone about his business.
Incredible service for them both.
Yeah, absolutely. Long ball forwards, come off a Celtic head. That's just one big boot from Matt Macy with the free kick. Comes off a Celtic head and goes behind for a Hibernian corner.
Well, from the goal kick, or from the kick-off in the second half, they put the ball right in to Celtic's half, and they got high up the pitch. And in this instance, a free kick, the high up, long ball. Now they've won the corner. Now they've got a little bit of strength in the air.
Boyle's going to take the corner from that northwest corner, right-footed into the box. Hanlon attacks it! Oh, Hart! On the line, is it counting? Yes, it is! The goal's been given, and it is a Hibernian goal! And it's the green and whites of the East who strike first in the cup final, and it is one of their Mr. Hibs, Paul Hanlon, one of their 2016 heroes, who heads it down into the ground. Celtic couldn't prevent it from crossing the line, and it is the stuff of dreams for Paul Hanlon at Hampden Park, where it is Hibernian 1, Celtic 0. 5 minutes into the second half, and it's the set play agony for Celtic again.
And I must say, I was just going to say before the corner came in, Liam, that's exactly how they got the first goal against Rangers in the semi-final. They managed to get themselves a corner from a situation there was nothing in, and they took full advantage of it. We talked about set plays beforehand. It's a big part of the game, and this is something that worked. You can tell by the delivery that Boyle's put in. He's been hanging up there at the back for Hanlon, and he attacks it with all that he's got and gets it across the line.
Well, the ball ends up in, here's a chance for Celtic.
It's Kyogo, goal! Immediate retaliation, and suddenly this cup final has come to life. Kyogo Furuhashi equalises within a minute for Celtic, slipping it home from the left-hand side of the 6-yard box to send the Celtic fans this time into raptures and silence the hippies at the other end. It is Hibs 1, Celtic 1. It's game on, well and truly now.
Well, this game has just come alive. It's just a long ball over the top. Paul Hanlon's looking for offside. I don't know whether he's still celebrating that goal, but the assistant didn't put a flag up, and he's tucked it low beyond Matt Macy at his near post. Good finish, but Hibs will be kicking themselves after going the goal up. Just a long ball over the top. Just going back to the Hibs goal. I actually thought that Joe Hart should have been coming for that corner. The ball ends up in the 6-yard box. Starfield lost his man and Hanlon, and he has a free run at it, but the ball's hanging up there in the air, and I thought he should have been able to come and deal with it, and he doesn't, and it puts Hibs up. But what a reaction from Celtic.
Well, I hope he didn't go away and make a cup of tea for 60 seconds there, because there were, I think, fewer than 60 seconds between the two goals. Anyway, here comes Celtic driving into the box with Rogic, dancing his way to the byline, but dancing the ball out for a goal kick. So Kenny Miller, we can draw breath. One apiece, 53 minutes just about have come and gone. David Gray and Hibs will be irate with the quickness of the equaliser. Their lead not lasting a minute.
Yes, it's not be good enough for David Gray's team. You know, I think there is a hint of offside. The replays that I've seen are not conclusive enough, but it definitely looks like he's ahead of that line. It'll be interesting to have a look at that later. But yeah, either way, you've got to deal with these situations. After scoring in what has been a pretty dull game, you need to kind of deal with these situations far better.
Celtic defending, throw back to Joe Hart along his 6-yard area. He gets it away. He's done well. He's picked out Abada, who rolls it into the path of Rogic, and suddenly Celtic smell blood here. Tom Rogic driving forward, rolling it forward into the penalty area. It's with Johnston. His shot is blocked and it breaks favourably for Matt Macy, and it will stay at 1 apiece for now.
Well, we talked about the first half being drab, been no chances. Suddenly the game has picked up tempo, pace, chances of goals. So it's going to be an incredible finish to this game, I think.
Here comes Murphy for Hibs, driving at the Celtic penalty at the left angle. Skips infield, rolls it back to the outside of the boot for Stevenson. Stevenson does likewise out to Newell on this near side. Newell looks up the ball into that corridor of uncertainty. Well defended by Carter Vickers, though, clears it out for a Hibs throw-in on this near side. Murphy takes the throw-in quickly, down towards the byline. He's going to get it back from Nisbet. Murphy flights the ball into the box, headed away, breaks to Beaton. Beaton then slips it into the path of Callum McGregor. Rogic ahead of him, Abada to the right. It's Abada on the touchline. Now he's driving forward at the Hibs defence. Infield to Rogic. Rogic looks up, he's just outside the box. He gets away from one, couldn't get away from the second. Good challenge there by Doyle Hayes, as Kyogo pinches it back there off Campbell. Kyogo's in the box, to the left-hand side of it for Johnston. First time left foot cross comes in, but it's going to be headed clear by Stevenson out to this near side. Stevenson can get back onto it before it goes out for the throw, and boots it forward into the Celtic half. It's a proper game of football now.
Yeah, intensity's gone up, hasn't it, Kenny? From both sides. It's got the crowd going too. That's the other situation, and it's created a real atmosphere inside the ground.
It was Paul Hanlon's first goal of the season. It was Kyogo's 14th. It's picked up on that left-hand side for Celtic with Johnston beyond the midway point of the Hibs half. Rolls it back away to Beaton. Now it's with the Celtic skipper McGregor. Out to the far side touchline for Taylor, to McGregor again. Nicks it forward to Johnston, passing it back out to the touchline for Taylor. Level with the edge of the D of the Hibs box. Square ball into McGregor, who squares it himself to Rogic. Then out to the right hand side of the box for Abada. Side foot towards Kyogo, couldn't quite stab it with enough power to beat Matt Macy, who holds on pretty comfortably. We played almost 56. Hibs 1, Celtic 1.
Yeah, just a little bit of pocket of space open up for Tom Rogic there. I thought he was going to maybe take on the shot. He elected to pass it to Abada. He tried to pick out Kyogo. I just couldn't get enough on it. But I thought Tom could have just had a wee chance to maybe have a strike on goal from that position outside the box.
The chance for Hibs. Newell won it back. Carter Vickers is there just to slam the door in the face of Kevin Nisbet as he knocks it out for a Hibs throw-in over on the far side. And this game is swinging from one end to the other right now.
Yeah, Hibs are making a far better go of it in the second half. They've been a more attacking threat in the first 11 minutes of the second half than they were the whole first half. It's made it a game that's going end to end. You're starting to see a little bit of things opening up already. Hibs still going direct again. I think Christian Doyes might be an option for Hibs up front. I mean, Nisbet's not got too much change out of the two centre-backs of Celtic today, but Doyes might have a little bit more luck.
Heading towards 57 minutes. Hibs have it in the far side. The Celtic box, though they've lost it, Campbell. And it's cleared up towards Kyogo, left of the centre circle, gets it back to Rogic. Rogic looks up, surveys the pitch ahead of him, rolls it forward to Juranovic. Good challenge by Stevenson, as Rogic wins it back on this near side. Level with the edge of the centre circle in the Hibs half. Slowing things down slightly, the Aussie, as he finds McGregor, who finds Taylor, who finds Rogic, back to Greg Taylor. He goes for goal, caught by his own man Kyogo, and then hooked clear by Porteous. The bounce is awkward for Nisbet, goes over his head, breaks for Carter Vickers, who sends it forward out to that left-hand side. One in the air by McGinn, then a returned header by Taylor, breaks for Doyle Hayes. Sliding challenge by Johnston, and it's out for a throw into Hibernian over on that far side. Hibs 1, Celtic 1. Doesn't happen often. The team who scores first in the League Cup final loses it. The last time that happened was in 2013 when Ryan Stevenson opened the scoring for Hearts before they went on to lose to St Mirren. The time before that was in 2008 when Noel Hunt's goal looked like it was going to win it for Dundee United before Chris Boyd equalised with 5 to play. Rangers going on to win it on penalties, as Beaton finds Rogic back to near Beaton, driving forward, looking for Kyogo. Too much in the pass, and it was right through to Macy. 2 minutes shy of the hour at Hampden, 1-1.
Yeah, you've got to say Hibs will be absolutely kicking themselves. They score a goal, set piece, then it's about just defending for the next 5-6 minutes just to settle down. They didn't do it. Now, I don't know if he was offside. We will have a look at it, I'm sure. We'll pick up on it, but you've got to do proper defending. You can't be celebrating a goal, losing your concentration, and it looks to me as that's kind of what happened.
The most disappointing thing is it's not as if they were under any pressure, like 3-4 minutes of pressure after scoring. It was literally straight from centre. The ball goes wide, it gets flipped over the back line, and he goes through and he scores. You know, so they've not even, like Celtic have not even had to really earn that, you know, so they've literally gifted them from this, and a good way to play on Celtic's part, but really, really poor defending from Hibs.
Taylor out to Johnston, skips infield again, he's at the left angle of the box looking for space to shoot, he does so. It's a good sliding challenge by McGinn, it really was. It's gone behind for a corner. It was an important intervention because Mikey Johnston was lashing for goal there. 59 played 1-1, Packy Bonner.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was a really good tackle, because that's the area for a goalkeeper, that's the area you don't want people cutting in, trying to bend that ball around you, open up the whole goal. So your defender has got to do a job. Yes, it was a skill of Mikey Johnson getting in there, but defended it well.
Juranovic takes the corner, right-footed out swinger, it's beaten everyone, breaks out to Rogic to the edge of the box. Rogic finds McGregor. McGregor looking for a bit of space, moves it back to Rogic, left-hand side of the box, and it comes, and Macy has to tip it behind. That was a dodgy one for the goalkeeper to deal with. It was swung in beautifully by Rogic, and it almost nestled in that right-hand corner of the net.
I don't think he was going for goal. I think he was trying to put a cross into that space between the goalkeeper defenders. He just overhit it a little bit and looked as if it was going to go over. Matt Macy, a big guy, he's got his fingers touched to it, and that was a corner for Celtic, keeping the pressure on.
And it comes from Juranovic, it's met by the header, and it goes well wide. What a chance for Starfelt. It's an outstanding opportunity. If he catches that flush, Celtic are surely in front. It stays 1-1.
That's two opportunities he's had for these corners. It's clearly an area that they're looking to target from the corners. One, the first half he gets across, doesn't get enough on it. This one's even better. It's coming into him, he gets a full head on it, and he just glances it behind the back, across the back post. Again, Kyogo lurking again there at the back post for the pieces.
I don't know whether Porteous got blocked off again, because he was so far off him to allow him to get that run into that space like he did what's happened in the first half. Here's a chance.
Yeah, Campbell for Hibs, forward towards Boyle, cut out by Taylor, takes it down to the corner flag, turns and swings it out for a throw into Hibernian over on that far side. 61 just about played at Hampden under the floodlights. The League Cup final. Hibs led through Hanlon's header, which was blocked by Juranovic, but it had crossed the line. Celtic level a minute later through Kyogo. Here's Newell for Hibs.
This is better for Hibs. Building play, keeping it in the half, switching the play a little bit. It's the first time we've really seen them attack like this.
Yeah, that's Murphy on this near side, twisting and turning against Juranovic, gets the cross in with the left foot, headed away by Carter Vickers. Only as far as Doyle Hayes controls, rolls it out to that right-hand side for McGinn. McGinn with the left foot to Boyle. Boyle on the turn, up against Johnston. Johnston does well. The linesman's furiously waving his flag over on the far side, so a free kick's been given here for Hibernian to the right angle of the Celtic box.
Yeah, as Kenny says, you know, that's the first time we've really seen Hibs in that area around the edge of the box, getting control of the game. And, you know, at half-time the discussion was about getting Hibs higher up the pitch, but you only can get higher up when you get good control of the ball. And in this instance, they've got good control. Now they've got their free kick. Now they're able to put it back in to the same type of area for the big guys to go and attack it.
Martin Boyle over it. It's actually going to be taken a bit closer to the touchline than I thought it was going to be. The incident was a bit closer to the box, but it's a good chance. Level with 18-yard line here for Boyle to put this on top of the Celtic defence, and it comes a poor delivery from Boyle, headed away by the first man, McGregor, and then out off the head of Johnston for a Hibs throw-in on the far side, about level with the Celtic penalty spot.
You know, I would much rather seen Joe Newell on that. I've watched his delivery for corners, for free kicks. It's absolutely wicked with that left foot that he's got. He whips it in with such danger. It's always a constant threat when he hits it in, so surprised that he's not actually on the free kick.
He'll be taking the next one.
I think so, after hitting the first man.
Yeah. Hibs come again, cross into the box, headed away by Starfelt, who had that glorious opportunity a moment ago up the other end. Here's Murphy getting it from Stevenson. Murphy driving it, Juranovic gets the cross in. Joe Hart holds on the 6-yard line. 63 played. Hibs 1, Celtic 1.
That's not a bad in there. That's not a bad ball in there for Jamie Murphy. If Nisbet's on his toes there and getting across the front post, you'd have a glance at the goal there. I think he's just expecting maybe Murphy to go on his left foot and maybe put it in that way, but it hit it in early with the right foot.
There's Greg Taylor for Celtic with the right foot rolling it out to Johnston on the left-hand touchline. Now it's level with 18-yard line of Hibernian. Johnston then again, he's coming across the 18-yard line, rolls it to Rogic at the edge of the D. Rogic stabs it back to McGregor. McGregor's got Juranovic out on this near side as he overhit the pass. Juranovic can't get there and it trickles behind for the goal kick, and it will remain Hibs 1, Celtic 1 here on Sportsound this Sunday afternoon. BBC Radio Scotland on digital, on 810 medium wave, on FM, on BBC Sounds, at bbc.co.uk/sportscotland. The League Cup final is finally poised at 1 apiece. And we're back with these two clubs on Wednesday evening as they play their rescheduled league games because of this fixture. Hibs are hosting Aberdeen at St Mirren against Celtic. There's also St Johnstone Ross County to come on Wednesday before we go into that busy festive period ahead of the winter break. As Callum McGregor lashes it forward down that far side with the left foot, straight to Porteous though. Porteous looks up long, looking for Nisbet. Underneath it is Starfelt. Clears it with the left foot and picked up in the far side by Johnston. Finds Beaton, who finds McGregor. Snapping at his heels all the way though was Doyle Hayes. But Celtic emerged with possession in any case, as Starfelt plays it to his right for Juranovic, who goes back to the Swede. With that recent spell out injured, but he's back now at the heart of that Celtic defence as he turns away from Josh Campbell across the halfway line. He finds Kyogo, who scored Celtic's equaliser. Finished it superbly well. You were never really in any doubt as to where the ball was going when it dropped at Kyogo's feet, left-hand side of the 6-yard box. Celtic equalised within a minute of going behind to Hanlon's header. Here comes Celtic again. Taylor on the underlap outside the box, left-hand side of it, tries to roll it back to McGregor. And Hibs had bodies in the way, and this time as it was pulled back towards the penalty spot, it was away by Porteous. But here comes Celtic again. Rogic throws it to the right-hand side of the box. Abada played it in towards the 6-yard line. Hibs block behind corner.
Yeah, I don't know what is it Nisbet is down on the halfway line, or just over the halfway line when he was in that challenge with Starfelt. Starfelt came out on top, and that allowed him to break forward. I'm not sure if Nisbet's looking for a free kick there, Kenny.
I think he's trying to buy it, to be honest, because he's miscontrolled it. He should have done far better. There was a counter opportunity there for Hibs with players streaming past him, and he's just miscontrolled it and allowed Starfield to get back in control and mount the attack for Celtic.
Two managers patrolling their technical areas as Juranovic prepares to take this corner. Outswinger with the right foot here, 66 on the clock, 1-1. And it comes from Juranovic. Beats everyone except Rogic, who picks it up at the 18-yard line left of the D, rolls it to McGregor, gives it back to Rogic. Rogic looks up, plays the ball into the box, blocked by a defender behind for another Celtic corner. They're beginning to crank the pressure up.
Yeah, they are, and they're getting a wee bit more of a foothold again now in the second half of the game, but they're still not able to get that shot on target. Got a lot of play again. They're getting more control of the game.
This time the corner from the Celtic left over on the far side in that northeast corner of the stadium. In swinger coming up, and it comes on top of Matt Macy, who holds on with Kyogo lurking behind them. And it will stay Hibs 1, Celtic 1 as we approach 67 minutes. The League Cup final's gone to extra time on 16 occasions out of the previous 75 stagings of it. Is that where we're headed today? We shall see. Heading towards the final quarter.
Just come back to that.
Starfelt's made a mistake. Here's Nisbet. Nisbet driving in. Starfelt bites back at him. Brilliant footwork. Nisbet's in. Saved by Hart. The low effort from Kevin Nisbet. And it goes out for a throw-in on the far side. And Carl Starfelt is breathing an almighty sigh of relief. It stays 1-1.
A real problem for Starfelt. He goes with his left foot, which isn't his dominant foot. And he gets done with Nisbet. He twists him and turns him. And he can thank Joe Hart for coming out. A very important, great save to come out and close the area down and make the big save from Kevin Nisbet. But he should have scored.
Kenny, if that's Martin Boyle, it's probably a different outcome.
You know, he done great to get himself into the position. Firstly coming in, then going back outside onto his right foot. It's really, really good goalkeeping for Joe Hart. He gets out quickly, he narrows the angle, he spreads himself. Good play all round.
That's Joe Hart's real best part of his game, making them big 1v1 saves and all that. Coming for crosses, that's where he kind of lets himself down, and I think he was involved. I would say in the goal he should have been probably doing a little bit better for the goal, but he makes up for it with that wonderful save there.
If that's Boyle, who's got the extra pace, that burst of pace.
I think Boyle's beyond it, Liam, you're right. I think he doesn't need to worry about coming back to beat Starfelt again. He would have been straight on goal and been looking to shoot a lot earlier.
Yeah, Nisbet checked his run when he got into the box and the Swede got goal side of him. Anyway, 68.5 played, it's one apiece. It's now with Carter Vickers. He's across halfway, he's level with the edge of the centre circle. He plays it short to his left for Beaton. And now back to Carter Vickers and then to the Israeli once more. Short ball for Taylor. Flicks it to Rogic to his right. Rogic has to put up with the challenge from Stevenson. He stands up to it though and he rolls it back to Beaton. Back to Rogic again, looking to unpick the Hibs defence. Rolls it with the left foot to the right hand side for Abada. Drops the shoulder up against Murphy, then checks his run, passes it back out to the touchline for Juranovic, and then short to Abada, who goes to Beaton. Infield to a central area for Greg Taylor. Now with Beaton again to Starfelt, driving forward towards the Hibs box. Starfelt rolls it out to Johnston on the left hand side. There are three in dark green in the middle. It's Johnston. He plays it into the box. It's blocked there by Porteous, I think it was, and eventually cleared on the edge of his own box by Jamie Murphy. But Celtic will come again here, approaching the final 20 of 90 with the scoreline at 1-1. Callum McGregor rolls it to the right of the centre circle for Juranovic, and then he passes it out towards Starfelt. A misunderstanding, and it goes out for a throw into Hibs, and Juranovic is made to look a bit silly there.
He was, because Starfelt didn't give him the option to pass. He was kind of dropping back, taking a bit of a rest instead of just going and looking for the little pass, which Juranovic thought he was going to move into that position, but he didn't, and give away possession. And Hibs have got the throw in out the right hand side.
Just wonder if David Gray's going to be looking at his bench. I've seen someone just, I think it was Scott Allen, just getting the call there, maybe to come in. So it looks like there's maybe going to be a change on the horizon. At that 70-minute mark as well, I think both teams might be looking to make changes soon.
It's a foul over on that far side. I think it was Greg Taylor who made it. Yeah, Scott Allen is speaking to Craig Sampson down below us in the Hibs dugout, if you want to call it that. Here at Hampden, the big sprawling technical areas, which are part of the stand, I suppose, rather than being a dugout. And it will be a Hibs free kick on the far side, midway inside Celtic territory, a couple of yards from that north stand touchline. It's going to be taken by Joe Newell, left foot, in it comes, he slips as he takes it, but Porteous wins the header. Hanlon goes for it, Carter Vickers half away. Porteous couldn't get back onto it. It's a tidy little header out by Taylor for Rogic on this near side as he nicks it forward to Beaton. Beaton then forward looking for Abada. It's cut out though by Lewis Stevenson. And now up the other end go Hibs with Jamie Murphy. Murphy down the left, looking to take on Juranovic. Good play by the Celtic defender. He stood up to that and then wins it back and clears it up towards halfway. Hanlon with a foul on Abada, says the referee. David Gray's got his arms outstretched there, as is the Hibs skipper. Of course, David Gray, the former club captain, the man who replaced him, giving away the free kick for the foul on Abada there. 71.5 on the clock. It's 1-1 as it's taken quickly to Kyogo. Kyogo's in, shoots, scores! What a finish from Kyogo Furuhashi, who might have scored a goal that will end in silverware for Celtic, and he lobs it over Matt Macy, all 6'7" of the Hibs goalkeeper, and Kyogo, Celtic's star of the East, does it again on one of the biggest stages. It is Hibernian 1, Celtic 2, and it's the Kyogo show.
Well, it's a lightning reaction from Kyogo again, always on the move, always looking for the ball over the top. Hibs players maybe at the referee thinking that the free kick was taken too early, but Kyogo, smart, intelligent, I don't see anything really wrong with the free kick. I don't think he was offside, so the Hibs defence again
Yeah, I mean, Hibs are too busy, Kenny, complaining about the previous decision, and now they find themselves behind in a cup final they led.
Yeah, they are, and again, whether it's a free kick or not, it's immaterial now. It's wonderful play for Tom Rogic. He sees it, he catches eyes with Kyogo. Kyogo lives on that last line. You know, he's always on the borderline offside. Again, we'll have to have a look at that one again, but it's a great pass, quick thinking for Tom Rogic, and then when he gets into that position, Kyogo, it's an incredible finish.
And it's 2-1 Celtic. And Hibs are in a spot of bother as Paul Hanlon meets it and lifts it high into the Glasgow sky. It drops down on Scott Allen, who, by the way, has replaced Josh Campbell.
One of the features of Celtic's game is they take things quickly. They take kicks quickly, goal kicks quickly. So defenders and the opposition team need to know that. And going into this game, that would be one of the things that you would almost talk about.
Here comes Rogic for Celtic. They're looking to turn the screw here. Rogic trying to slip it through to Kyogo. It's blocked. And Hibs can clear through Paul Hanlon. Kyogo, of course, on a hat-trick now. Celtic's League Cup final hat-trick heroes of the past: McPhail, Lennox, Deans and Larsson. Can Kyogo join them? Tony Ralston's going to come on for Celtic, who are in pole position after a horrific season for them by their standards. Trophyless season. They've only had 3 of those since the turn of the century. Last season was one of them. But this would help begin the healing process a lot faster as Greg Taylor's replaced by Ralston, and Juranovic will, Kenny, go over to left back.
Yeah, he'll go across there. Tony Russell will just slip right into right back. Juranovic will go across the left back, and that's been a familiar back line for Celtic this season. Obviously Tony probably a little bit unlucky that he's not found himself in the starting lineup for today's game.
What an impact Kyogo's made on Celtic. I mean, this is the kind of impact Larsson made at the club, and obviously Celtic as a club, Packy, you know better than me how much they adore a superstar. And most Celtic teams of the yesteryear, the successful ones, have had someone like Kyogo.
Yeah, could you say that Kyogo has been wonderful in this game? Probably not, but he's got 2 goals and he's always on the move. He's always looking, he's closing people down. He's looking when they get the ball, can he get over the top? He comes short, he goes long. All of that movement is there, and when you're up against a player like that, you've got to be really switched on. You cannot take your eyes off him, and you cannot lose your concentration, and that's what Hibs have done in both occasions.
Yeah, he's actually probably made a quicker impact than Larsson did. It was kind of post-leg break that Larsson really took off like a rocket. And indeed against Hibs, I think he sold a goal against Hibs on his Celtic debut, in fact. But Kyogo, certainly, that's what you want, Kenny. You played for both halves of the old firm. You need to make an instant impact when you go there. You need to make that quick impression. And Kyogo's up to 15 for the season.
Yeah, you do, but he is always on the move, and he's on that back line. He's a constant threat. Like Packy says, it doesn't take too much to do with the game in terms of link-up and build-up, but it's just a constant threat.
Offside
always on the
Nisbet.
last line. Yeah. Always looking for through balls.
Nisbet offside there. Hibs have got 14 minutes to save this. Trailing Celtic by 2-1. Ange Postecoglou, 14 minutes plus stoppage time away from becoming the latest trophy-winning Celtic manager.
Be a big
still
moment
work to do.
Yeah, an important moment for him too. What you don't want to do is lose a cup final in your first one. That's for sure.
So now with McGregor in the centre circle for Beaton. Forward it comes to Rogic. First time back to McGregor. Left to the centre circle in the Hibs half. Then out to that left-hand touchline for Johnston. Johnston twisting and turning and burrowing his way towards the box. He goes down. No free kick. John Beaton unmoved. Hibs clear, only as far as Beaton though. He finds McGregor. It's hard work for Hibernian right now. They cannot get Scott Allen involved since he came on, and Celtic come again with Kyogo on that left-hand side. Johnston, Rogic and Abada in the box. Kyogo's cross is cut out, but it breaks kindly for McGregor, who finds Abada, but it's just too much on it for Abada to be able to control. And Hibs clear. From a Hibs point of view, they just need to believe that they can get another goal in this one and at least try and salvage extra time. They have been a threat at times in the second half.
Yeah, it'd been much better in the second half. And as I say, Jimmy Murphy's higher up the pitch, especially in this left-hand side here. Boyle's higher up the pitch. And they had that big chance from Kevin Nisbet, so they have created and they've been better in the second half, Kenny.
They've been far better in the second half, far more of a threat. I still think if they're going to, they have been pretty direct at times. I just think Christian Doyce could pose a big problem for the Celtic centre backs.
You don't want to leave it too late before making the change.
Absolutely not. I think both him coming on, getting Boyle higher up and closer to the forwards.
Yeah,
I think if we can get him up there and get Boyle working off him, I think it could cause problems in the last 13 minutes for Celtic.
And he's coming on. Next stoppage in play by the look of things. It's Hibs in possession with Doyle Hayes. Hibs led through Hanlon, and a Kyogo double has spoiled their day, unless Newell, long ball, big switch, beautiful pass out to Stevenson, gets at the corner flag and wins a corner off Ralston. That's outstanding from Joe Newell. What a ball it was.
Beautiful ball. It's a ball where somebody of the pace of Stevenson can get on the end of it, and it was beautifully weighted right in the corner. I thought he maybe could have done it maybe first time.
I thought it was a corner pack. It's actually a throw-in, which they've taken. Stevenson swings it into the box. Nisbet, well, was he caught in two minds there? He moved it towards goal rather than try and attempt at scoring there. He ended up kind of just moving it into the 6-yard box, and Celtic clear easily. It's going to be a double change for Hibs, by the way. Josh Doig is also going to come on. Christian Doig waits alongside him on the touchline. Hibs aren't done yet. They will make a fist of this. Here's Doyle Hayes, right-footed, out to Murphy on the near side. Jamie Murphy looks up at the Celtic box, gets the cross ball in, cleared by Juranovic. Doyle Hayes wins it back, goes down, no free kick. I think he's trying to buy one there. He got to the ball, he moved it forward, but when he realised he wasn't finding a teammate, down he went, no free kick. Rogic can't control. Scott Allen tries to get back there, the former Celtic midfielder. He finds Hanlon, gets away from Rogic. Advantage for Hibs because Rogic had a little bite at Hanlon. Here comes Paul Hanlon down the left-hand side. 3 in Hibs colours in the middle. His cross is cut out though. Carter Vickers prevents the corner on this near side and chips it clear down the right flank as Abada plays it off Stevenson. He tried to get the nutmeg there, it didn't work out at all. Hanlon for Hibs, short to Murphy, to the overlapping Stevenson, looks up, left foot cross, swings it towards the back post. The two Hibs players went towards the near post, Boyle and Nisbet, and Celtic get it away as that goes out to play for a Celtic throw-in over on that far side. Hibs will make that change now. We played 80 minutes, 10 of the 90 left. Jamie Murphy will come off, and it will be Doig on for him. I'm not sure exactly who's going to come off for Doig. It's Stevenson. Yeah, Doig on for Stevenson, and it will be Murphy off, Doig on. So 2-1 Celtic in the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, they were the changes I think Kenny, you wanted.
Yeah, I think Doy's definitely. I think he can cause all kinds of problems up front with Nisbet. I'll just be interested to see how they shape up, if they do flip maybe to a back three or they change in the shape in the middle, because they seem to have a lot of players through the middle of the pitch there for having two strikers. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. They might just go lopsided and have Boyle up high on the right with the front two.
Celtic are going to bring on Owen Moffat in just a moment, the youngster. And that ball's going to play over on that far side for a Hibs throw. 81 on the clock. Hibs 1, Celtic 2. Short throw into Doyle Hayes. Gives it back to McGinn on the far side. Into Doyle Hayes again. Back it goes to Porteous. Cross halfway again on that right-hand side. Infield comes to Doyle Hayes. And then the misunderstanding with Newell. And it was out of play for a throw into Celtic over on that far side.
Yeah, I think it'll be Mikey Johnson, who's just sat down on the ground. I think he'll be going off.
How do you rate this guy, Owen Moffat, Packy?
Yeah, listen, I've only seen a little bit of him. He came on in the game up in Dingwall. Very sharp, tricky little player. Big moment for him coming on the cup final, I've got to say. And he doesn't have a lot of attacking options on the bench, and I think he's the only one from that perspective, you know.
Yeah, the 19-year-old will come on now.
I don't know why the referee is he's
well, number 8's gone up. It's Kyogo, and they're going to bring Stevie Welsh on as well.
What's happened is they've asked Maggie Johnson to sit down to get the sub on because they wanted to take Kyogo off, and that's why the referee has booked him. From that perspective, they're going to maybe take both of them off, are they?
Yeah, Kyogo and Johnston both off.
Yeah,
Johnston
yeah.
confirmed
Scales.
yellow card there, yeah. 82.5 played. We know cup final hat-trick for Kyogo, but it may be that he has made the lasting impression on this League Cup final.
Yeah, Badil played through the middle now, and Scales. I'm just seeing what Scales will probably go over onto the left-hand side.
Yeah, I thought it was Welsh. It's Scales who's going to come on.
Juranovic is going to come over high up on the right-hand side.
Yeah,
that's
Liam Scales on. Got there in the end, Packy, didn't we?
Yeah, but that's moving around a few players. The system and the shape won't change.
It's just Owen Moffat. I think it's just his second first-team appearance. Comes in a cup final. His debut against County during the week. Shake of the hands for Kyogo from the vast majority of Celtic's technical staff down below us as he takes his seat in the stand. He'll hope that he's done the job. First cup final for Kyogo in Scotland. He scored twice. Away it goes by Macy, left-footed. Still time for Hibs, 83.5 in the clock, plus injury time. 2-1 to Celtic though. Here's Christian Doidge. Rolling it out to that right-hand side for Boyle, who hasn't made his mark on the final at all. The hat-trick semi-final hero. Here he goes, right-hand side, gets the chip ball into the box. Headed away by Ralston. Poked back by Scott Allen, but it's going to go straight to Abada rather than Doyle Hayes, and Celtic have it back with Abada on that left-hand side. Moffat for company. Moffat works it back to Abada, and suddenly it's 3-on-3, and Celtic are driving forward, trying to seal the deal here. It's Abada into the box. It breaks for Rogic. Good save, Macy. He didn't catch it as he would have liked. Tom Rogic with the left foot. Low effort, saved by Macy, and it stays Hibs 1, Celtic 2.
Good save, keeps his team in it. Yeah, you're right. I don't think Tom Rogic wanted, actually. I think he was blocked off to go sort of down the right side of the goalkeeper and to go across the goalkeeper, and allowed him to get down quickly and get a save in to give away the corner.
It's going to be taken by Juranovic. This is not what the Hibs fans want. It is frustrating for them up the other end of the stadium. Celtic have a corner. Juranovic takes it short to Ralston, heading towards the final 5 minutes of the 90. And Celtic leading by 2-1. Ralston holding it up down by the corner flag. Are they trying to wind the clock down already?
It's a bit early for this type of thing.
I would have thought so.
Absolutely. They've got a chance to go and score the third goal there.
He's won a corner, to be fair to him. He's won the corner, and Doyle Hayes respots it quickly. Celtic to get a wriggle on here. Another short one, Juranovic to Ralston. There could feasibly be, 9 minutes of this cup final still to play.
Yeah.
They've just had an amazing counter-attack to go 3. They've got a chance to put it in. It's way too early for that carry on.
Juranovic will take, and it comes with the right foot. It's headed away by Porteous on 6 yards. Still inside the Hibs box. It's headed clear by Doyle Hayes. Here's Callum McGregor. Out wide right for Juranovic. Level with the penalty spot, right-hand side of the box, taking on Doig. Down to the corner flag he goes again. Doig pinches it back off him this time though, and he clears it with the right foot. Can't find Boyle. Scales is there. First time ball. It's terrific with the left foot for McGregor. McGregor for Ralston. Ralston will shift it back there to Beaton. Moves into his own half and was back to Carter Vickers. A dreadful touch by Carter Vickers. Throw in Hibs, taken quickly by Doig. Good recovery there by Callum McGregor. He knows what it's all about when it comes to cup finals in Celtic colours. Hibs 1, Celtic 2, 86 on the clock.
Yeah, I just think in the game, I think one pass I've counted that McGregor's given away. One that he tried to slide Juranovic down the right-hand side, just overheaded. Apart from that, he's played very well again in the middle of the pitch.
Long ball into the Celtic box, headed away by a diving Starfelt. It's a foul by Doig, says John Beaton, to the chagrin of the Hibs supporters. It's a free kick to Celtic inside their own box. And it remains Hibs 1, Celtic 2. I think some of the Hibs fans beginning to slump away from the National Stadium. They don't think their team is going to get back on terms and force extra time. Stranger things, much stranger things have happened though. There's still time for Hibs. At 87 played, plus stoppages. Celtic in the box seat and getting so close to getting back that winning feeling. Long ball by Hart out to Ralston, bounces out off the Celtic player last, says the assistant referee Graham Stewart on this near side. Juranovic from the throw-in and out for another Hibs throw.
Hibs need to get a hold of the ball and get that ball up to Christian Doidge and let Boyle and Nisbet work off him. It's as simple as that. It's getting the last 2 and 3 minutes of the game. They need to try and put that Celtic backline under pressure.
They haven't done that since Doidge come on.
Not at all.
Here's Allen. He's into trouble in the shape of Carter Vickers. He finds McGregor. McGregor scampering over that far side. He's got Moffat ahead of him. Rolls it into the path of Moffat, but the covering player is Porteous. He rolls it down the line. They've kept it in play. Now it's Martin Boyle in the turns. Good play by Hibs down that far side. Looked like it was just going to go out for a throw, but Boyle loses sight of the ball and allows Scales to make the challenge as it breaks to Scott Allen right of the centre circle. Short ball over to that right hand side, and it's knocked forward by McGinn for Boyle. Now it's with McGinn, right footed, long towards Porteous. He's gone up to help the strikers now, the auxiliary striker. Celtic clear though to Juranovic, headed forward by Hanlon, met by the head of Carter Vickers. And eventually settles with Scott Allen, right foot lifted into the box. Hanlon wins the first header. That's off the post it goes. Breaks back to Hanlon, who knocks it high over the bar. And both Paul Hanlon and Kevin Nisbet have their heads in their hands because they've missed a golden opportunity to get back into the battle for the silverware right in the last knock-ins as well, heading towards the final minute of 90, and it stays Hibs 1, Celtic 2.
Is that the big moment? And Kenny was just saying, get the ball up to the front men. It was the first time since Doidge has come on that they've really put it into that area. Porteous up to, kept it alive, and then the big header off the post with Joe Hart being. What a moment, Kenny.
It's a wonderful effort for Nisbet with the head. You know, he's had to loop it and direct it towards the back post, but when it drops to Hanlon, it's on his right foot, not his favoured foot, and he just blasts over the bar. It was a wonderful opportunity.
I was kind of distracted by the fact Hibs looked as though they had a penalty appeal there. Absolutely. Just in the build-up.
Yep, definitely had a clean shout for that, yeah.
Thumbs up, was it a penalty? It was a push? Well, there you go. Celtic might have gotten away with one there. We're 30 seconds into the final minute of the 90. Greg Aitkins, the fourth official, he's got the board in his hand, and we will find out what John Beaton's adding on at the end. That's all that Hibs have left. 2-1 to Celtic. Doyle Hayes inside his own half, swings it forward. Boyle will give chase, but it's going to come all the way through to Joe Hart. He's going to let it trundle behind for the goal kick. Hibs 1, Celtic 2, and all eyes now on Greg Aitken, who will tell us what the injury time is, and that injury time will be 5 minutes. We're into the first of them.
Yeah, big 5 minutes for Hibs. Can they conjure up another big chance? But they've got to get that ball forward. They've got to put that Celtic defence under pressure. Obviously they've pushed Porteous high up the pitch alongside Doidge with Nisbet sort of hanging around there too, but they've got to get a hold of the ball in the last 5 minutes. Celtic just want to manage the game out.
Celtic have won each of their last 5 League Cup finals. They've won each of their last 10 Cup finals. They're so close to winning this one. As Moffat goes down on the far side, that's going to be a Celtic free kick left of the centre circle in the Hibs half, and that's ideal from Celtic's point of view, Kenny.
That's exactly what they want. Kill the game, slow it down, see it out. No doubt this will be chipped right into the corner for them to chase in and try and keep it down there in a throw-in, or get someone on the ball and protect at the corner flag, because now is the time that you could probably look to keep it in there.
And it is down into that left-hand corner for Abada, who shields it on the far side against Doyle Hayes. He knocks it out for a Celtic throw-in. This is about level with the Hibs 6-yard line as the injury time begins to tick away from Hibs. One of the 5 minutes has come and gone. Celtic lead 2-1. They're less than 4 minutes away from another major trophy. It's down on that far side with Moffat, and being helped by Scales, I think it was, and eventually it goes out of play for a Hibs throw, which they've taken quickly. Their need is an urgent one. Hoofed away by Newell, breaks to Juranovic though. Good touch now, Rogic, back to Juranovic, back to Rogic, edge of the Hibs box, little ball into the penalty area, flag goes up, it's hit the post for Mabada, but it wouldn't have counted anyway, and it stays Hibs 1, Celtic 2. 2 of the 5 minutes have now come and gone. As Hibs come forward with Allen, do they have one last chance in them? They don't come much better than this bit's one that came off the post before.
They need to get it forward quicker than that.
Put it over the bar, as Newell dilly-dallied on it. Rogic almost nicked it off him. He goes back to Macy, who goes long with the right foot. Scales, powerful header away. McGinn hoists it forward again, headed clear by Carter Vickers. Will bounce over on the far side, out for a Hibs throw-in. Half of the injury time left, 2.5 to play. Hibs 1, Celtic 2. Matt Macy goes long with the right foot. It hangs in the air, drops down off the head of Ralston. And Scott Allen will let it go out for a throw-in on the near side. Allen bowls it short there to Doyle Hayes. They were so impressive against Rangers in the semi-final. They've not been able to get to those levels. Albeit Celtic have played better today than Rangers did in that semi. As Doyle Hayes picks up in the centre circle, flights it forward, left-hand side of the Celtic box for Doig. Doig looks to get the cross in, hits the side net. It didn't take a touch off Ralston, so it's a goal kick to Celtic. 2 minutes left. Hibs 1, Celtic 2.
He should have done better there to work it a little bit. He almost tried. I need to get this cross in. Was going through his mind instead of just settling on a little bit and working. He had a bit of a support on that side too, because they were getting closer and closer, higher up the pitch, and getting into then a decent position. But they give the possession back to Celtic, and Celtic can now kill off the game.
Celtic have won 19 of the last 30 major honours in Scottish football. 9 league titles, 5 Scottish Cups, 5 of these, and they're close to winning this one. And they've got a man down, it's a long stoppage, so there's going to be added time at the end of all this. It's about to go into the final minute of the injury time that was allotted by John Beaton, but Juranovic has been receiving some treatment on the pitch down below us. But so close now. Kenny, you've been in this position. Packy, been in this position. Going into the dying embers of a cup final, you're winning.
If you're winning, you're desperate for the whistle to come. You're hoping that you get a free kick, or you get a ball high up the pitch, and you slow the game down. If you're in the opposite situation, you're desperate to get one more chance to get that ball into the box, but you need to get control of the ball.
Joe Hart taking his time over this. Juranovic is going to come back on in just a moment. 30 seconds of the 5 minutes left, but John Beaton will add another minute onto the top of that, you would think. Juranovic comes back on. Hart with a long ball forward, helped on its way by Scales. Doyle Hayes will get there on the far side, rolls it back to Matt Macy. It's a poor clearance, but he's found his man. That was a bonus for him, but Newell runs into trouble, won back brilliantly by Beaton. Here's Rogic, nicks it through towards Moffat. The goalkeeper comes and claims the edge of his box. He's 3 Celtic players around him as well. Hibs clear, long ball, comes off the head of Beaton. We've played the 5 minutes. The injury time that was added on has gone. The shrill whistles from the Celtic supporters. Here's Scott Allen for Hibs. Forward it comes, blocked by Carter Vickers. Flicked away there by Abada into the Hibs half. Everyone watching John Beaton. Long from Macy. Hibs will give chase. It's Porteous going after it. Goal side momentarily of Carter Vickers. He's in the box. Little ball for Newell, who shoots. Saved by Hart. Breaks back to Porteous, and his efforts blocked by McGregor. That might be it. The Celtic fans sense that's it. We played almost a minute of time added on at the end of injury time as Moffat goes down on the far side. What a chance it was for Hibs. That might be it though. The horse may have bolted.
Yeah, desperation stuff, but Porteous doing actually very, very well when the ball's played and getting his body into a position. But Joe Hart coming up with a big save in the final minute. 2 big saves now from him, so to keep Hibs out.
It was actually great play for Porteous. Hold the ball up, really good back heel to John Newell. He could maybe get it a little bit more across the goalkeeper into the far corner, but a great save for Joe Hart. And when it comes back to Porteous, he's actually trying to tackle it back towards the goal, and I think it's one of the Celtic players got a block.
It's all over! It is Celtic's cup! It is Ange Postecoglou's cup! He is a trophy-winning Celtic manager, months into his reign, as he embraces John Kennedy down below us. Kyogo comes dancing onto the pitch as well, and his manager hoists his hero up into the air. A brilliant day for Celtic, a magical day for Kyogo. and a potentially defining day for Ange Postecoglou, who has admitted before that it's been a rocky road so far. But his Celtic team have found form, and they have found silverware. They have that winning feeling back after a trophyless season, a barren season, an empty season. But they can forget that now. Hibs led this cup final, played their part in the second half in particular, had chances, had glorious chances. Paul Hanlon giving them the lead, cancelled out less than a minute later by Kyogo. Fine finish across the bows of the keeper before a wonderful lob over Matt Macy made it 2-1 as Celtic came from behind to win the cup final. They deserve it. They were the better team overall, but they had to survive a couple of late chances for Hibs, with Joe Hart denying Joe Newell right to the death. But it is Celtic, who this time last year, just over a year ago, were knocked out on their own pitch by Ross County at the first hurdle, their earliest exit from this tournament since 2013. But just over 12 months later, they have won the League Cup for a 20th time, and they've added yet another major honour to what is by and large, apart from last season, been a pretty glorious decade or so. The Hibs players go to their fans. The Celtic players celebrate with theirs. It finishes here at the National Stadium. Hibernian 1, Celtic 2.
The Scottish League Cup final.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
As so often it seems to be the case when you're a team playing Celtic, or in the past Rangers, in a National Cup final, it's all a case of what might have been for Hibernian. They took the lead, they couldn't hold on to it. They did have that big chance late on. A real shout for a penalty late on as well. But it is the fans off to our right and rounds about 2/3 of this stadium that are celebrating now and will be celebrating even more wildly in the next few minutes. The Hibs players making their way round, one or two just forlornly waving up into the stands to family, to friends. It's going to be hurting right now, but it's pure undiluted joy for Celtic. I see Ange Postecoglou and his coaching staff just going round and hugging all the players there. Kyogo Furuhashi has gone right across to the far side, where one fan has got a Japanese flag, which Kyogo has obviously identified. He's going to cross to try to get the flag from the fan, and he has indeed got that. So that will be appearing in all the photographs that you will see as Celtic celebrate lifting the first trophy of the Ange Postecoglou era. They're currently erecting the makeshift stage and podium down on the pitch there, where the celebrations will continue, where the trophy will be handed over. 2 goals from Kyogo, enough to cancel out what might have been a fairy tale opener from Paul Hanlon. And a terrible League Cup final got a lot better in the second half, did it not, Willie Miller and Tom English?
Absolutely, Richard. I just wish that the first 45 was anything like the second, but it was full of what we thought the whole 90 minutes, or the 90 whatever minutes it was added on was going to be. Unfortunately it wasn't, but it certainly made up for the first half, because everything that you would want in a game. You know, the goal itself, you know, where Hibs strike back, you look at Starfelt, and Starfelt could have had 2 goals. He missed 2 sitters from corners with a header. He was a culprit for both the corner, the long ball that comes, he doesn't attack it well enough, comes off the back of his head, it goes for the corner. The corner's taken, he doesn't pick up Hanlon. Hanlon bullies him out the way, and he finishes it, and then he gives away a penalty. That's a stone wall blatant penalty when he pushes, I think it is Hanlon again, to the ground. But take nothing away from Celtic. I think Celtic were the better side. I thought Tom Rogic was absolutely immense out there. I thought he strolled through the game. Some of his set-up play was just a joy to watch, and the quick thinking for the second goal was just magnificent. And of course, Kyogo, 2 very difficult chances, and he took them. The second one was just sublime, wasn't it? Knew exactly what he had to do. Just plays in the shoulders of central defenders, and he toys with the offside just about every time that he's looking for that ball over the top. He's beat the offside in both occasions, and he's finished superbly. And you know, for Celtic to come back after the blow of going behind, I think shows the character that they have in the side. But as far as the second half is concerned, Hibs can take a lot out of it. They're defeated finalists, but they put a lot into that second half and came so very close to getting an equaliser towards the end. But unfortunately, fine margins exist, and you know, Celtic have found the fine margins to win the trophy.
Yeah, and it was 2 very good finishes, certainly by the Japanese that won it. In terms of the first one, there were shouts that it might have been offside. Tom, I think you've had a chance to see replays.
Yeah, it's hard to see on the replay because you look at the replay and the smoke from the smoke bombs is still there, so you cannot see the precise moment when the ball is played. It's incredibly tight. I mean, we'll figure it all out soon enough, but that's Kyogo's brilliant to playing on the shoulder and timing those runs exceptionally well. We know how good he is at it. So the finish is brilliant. The speed of thought, not to mind the speed of movement, but the speed of thought for his first and for his second goals was exceptional. The execution on both occasions was exceptional, and he was the difference. And Joe Hart had a terrific game. Made some big saves for them. Hibs put an awful lot into the second half, created chances, and they just didn't have a Kyogo, and that was the difference.
They also didn't have a penalty. Should they have had?
They probably should have had, but I think Celtic should have probably had one in the first half as well. So maybe that evens themselves out. But they probably should have had a penalty at the end there. They had chances, my gosh, they had chances with Nisbet, and then Nisbet again, and Hanlon that double one, and then Newell at the end. They really put Celtic under the cosh. And you know, it was a fine second half performance for Hibs. They'll have a world of regret they didn't hold on to the lead for longer than whatever it was, a minute, less than a minute. They just switched off. They just collectively switched off. And it cost them. And you can't switch off when Kyogo Furuhashi's on the pitch, because he will do you all day.
Of course, all very different when it comes to the presentations these days. It's Big David Brown from the organising company, the PR company, who just simply ushers the Hibs players across to the podium, which just sits there on its own in the middle of the pitch. And the players come along, the Hibs players, without no great ceremony. They all just pick up their losers' medals, their runners-up medals. And, you know, for some, it might be as good as it gets in the game of football. Others may be fortunate and go on and win a whole hatful of winners' medals, and therefore won't have to worry too much about the runners-up. There's one little kid who's just ran onto the pitch with his hip strip on, trying to get involved with the players, and he's just been gently eased back off the pitch. John Beaton and his assistants wander across now to pick up their medals. And in just a moment or two, the stage will be set for Ange Postecoglou and for Celtic again. They're just being told by the officials from the SPFL. The announcement rings around Hampden Park, and the players one by one will go up. I think there's now confusion as to where they should be going. Yeah, they've got the winners' medals over on the big stage that they've erected. And as the players, and it's Josip Juranovic who's first across, as they make their way across, each and every one picks up a winner's medal and hangs it round their neck, and then across the little walkway, past the trophy and up onto the stage that is sitting in the middle of the half, off to our right-hand side. Not as many people as there sometimes are at these, it's got to be said, where just about everybody seems to get a winner's medal. Certainly the coaching staff are holding back right now. It's Ange Postecoglou who's at the end of that little run. He's just going to cross. He's invited Callum McGregor to get there ahead of him. Callum McGregor wants all the coaching staff up on the platform as well. He's saying, come on. He's determined to get them up there, and he's not going up to get his trophy until they do. So Callum McGregor calls the whole backroom team. There's about 3 times as many backroom team as there are players. Callum McGregor up onto the stage. He picks up his winner's medal. He hangs it round his neck. He lifts up the trophy. He makes his way across to the stage. The Celtic fans around the stadium are poised to erupt. Up goes the trophy. Celtic Premier Sports Cup winners, season 21-22. Let the celebrations begin. The confetti, the ticker tape, the pyrotechnics, the smoke is wafting up into the air, a green and white hue to it. And somewhere down there, hidden behind the ticker tape, the Celtic players are celebrating their return to the winners' circle. It's the 20th time they have won the Scottish League Cup. They've won 5 of the last 6 tournaments, and they haven't lost in a League Cup final since Killie beat them. That Dieter van Toornout goal way back in 2012. It has been a remarkable run. Well, they've dominated all the Scottish domestic tournaments for a number of years now, but certainly this tournament they've enjoyed a lot of very, very happy days. And as you can hear, as the Celtic fans have fanned out along the back of the main stand here where we are. Initially the Hibs fans were here. They've of course long since departed the stadium, and to get a slightly better view, some of the Celtic fans that come at the back have spread out around. So the singing, the celebrating will continue for quite some time as the players begin to wander around. They're away from the stage now. They're making their way across the pitch, and they're about to head over to show off the trophy to the Celtic fans. Callum McGregor, a 15 trophy as a Celtic player. He's not quite up at the Scott Brown levels, but my goodness, it's a fantastic occasion for him, of course, as he becomes the latest Celtic captain to lift up a piece of major silverware. The big shout there was for Ange Postecoglou as he celebrates his first triumph as Celtic manager. The players walking round, I'm hoping we'll get some kind of reaction from some of those players. I think Kenny is down. Yeah, Kenny's down. He's going to be part of the entourage over there, so he'll grab, well, I'm sure he'll grab one or two of the Celtic players, get some reaction from them, and indeed from the manager as well, as the Celtic players slowly make their way round on a very leisurely lap of honour. They're not going crazy. I've seen wilder celebrations at Hampden Park over the years, it has to be said, but there will be a quiet satisfaction, I'm sure. Right, Callum McGregor's with Kenny.
Callum, congratulations. How does it feel? You've won many, many trophies as a Celtic player, but to do so as a Celtic captain must be so special.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I spoke before the game, try and calm everybody down, and you know, it's obviously you're thinking about the game. You want to get the first one. First one's always the hardest, and then you know the hard work really starts to kick in. And this group of players to come together in the summer and achieve a trophy at the first time asking is special.
Did you believe it was possible so quickly after the disappointment of last season, Callum?
Well, I think that was the thing. We wanted to get it, you know, out of system, win another trophy, and sort of get the club back to having success on a regular basis. So, like you say, we joined in a group of guys. We brought them together, and we managed to get success. You know, very, very quick at the first time asking, so it's brilliant.
Talk to us about the manager. He's had a huge impact, not only in this club, but also in Scottish football, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, he is. It's the way he wants us to play. You know, he demands of us every single day. He asks us, that's the team we want to be. And he's always putting the demands on us, so, you know, as a team, we just keep pushing. We just want more success now.
Thanks for your time, Cam. Go and enjoy.
Yeah, there will be quite a few photographs that don't feature the captain, because they've just been across behind a board there that says Cup winners 21-22. All the players there celebrating without Callum McGregor. Kenny's going to make his way around. Hopefully we'll get one or two more of the players as well the Celtic. One of the Celtic anthems belts out in the background. The scarves go up, and the Celtic fans continue their celebrations. Well, Pat Bonner, you've got a smile on your face. I haven't seen that since the Scottish Cup final last season, I don't think. Been a little barren period.
It has
You're back,
been.
are you?
I think it's a big statement today because the first trophy after what was a calamitous end of
I'll tell you, I'm just going to interrupt you because Joe Hart is now with Kenny.
Joe, you're looking into these fans, all the scarves are raised, You'll Never Walk Alone is on. How does this feel?
It's special. It's special. Great to be a part of. As an older player, it's really something you can appreciate, and yeah, very happy.
And this is obviously why you came to this club, because you believed you could win medals here, you could win trophies here.
Of course. I spoke to a very positive, very motivated manager. I dug a little deeper about the club, and the message from everyone is you don't realise what it's about till you get here, and you really don't. It's true. But I'm here, I'm part of it, and I'm buzzing.
I've watched from the sidelines many games this season, Joe. You've built up a real rapport with the fans, haven't you?
I've said it before. I think these guys just appreciate people who wear their heart on their sleeve. Look, I'm not the greatest goalkeeper in the world, but I play with my heart and I play for the club on my chest. And these guys see that and they appreciate it.
Loving life in Scotland?
Yes, very much so.
Fantastic. Well done. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you very much.
Joe Hart, big saves. Big saves this afternoon, Pat.
Big saves. I thought he was a little bit, I could say, maybe one of the culprits for the goal that he lost, but he made up for it with wonderful saves. Really brilliant. First save, I thought he was out really quickly. The second save in the last gasp moment of the game. Those are the big saves the Celtic goalkeepers have got to make when you don't get a lot to do in the game, and he comes up with them. That's his forte. And I loved what he said there about being an older player and almost taking that whole feeling in about winning a medal at his age and coming to Scotland and fitting in and enjoying himself. So, and it's a beautiful start for his career up here, and he'll go on for another couple of years, I'm sure. But for all the players,
actually, it was a good point. That I don't have the stats in front of me. Joe Hart will not have won very many trophies, medals.
A lot of players in England don't get a chance to win a lot of trophies, and when they come up here, they know that they have a bit of a chance. But when it happens, then it's about that feeling, and he's seen the reaction there from the Celtic fans. Celtic weren't at their best today, but what they had is they had that key player in Kyogo. They played a game on the front foot. The quick free kick for that last goal was a feature of their game. It served them very well today. But for all that group of players, it's their first trophy. Branch pass across to Coughlin. It's a huge moment for him.
Right, let's get back to Kenny. Near Beaton now.
Near, you've enjoyed so many special moments with this club. How does this compare?
It just feels amazing. I mean, every trophy, every silverware we win here is every time is amazing. It's a great feeling, and this is what this club is all about.
How tough was it last season for you and your colleagues?
It was horrendous. I mean, I can't even describe it. It was difficult, to play in front with a stadium with no fans, no excitement, no joy, and on top of that with the COVID and everything that came with that. So it wasn't a good season for us all around, but I'm very happy that we won this first trophy, and hopefully we can win more.
Talk to us about Kyogo. What a player he is. What an impact. You've got a big smile on your face. I mean, he's incredible, isn't he?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, we couldn't believe he was playing today. He was injured 10 days ago, and he did everything he could to be fit for us. And he's just a magician. He's just every time we need a little spark, he's always there. He's always provide something for us, and he's unbelievable.
Fantastic. Well done. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Near Beaton, who, of course, I don't know if he's had a bigger part to play this season, perhaps might have been anticipated. Certainly he came on to play his part fairly early following the injury to David Turnbull.
Richard, two players are playing the big, him and Tom Rogic.
Yes.
Two players that we thought
Rogic,
was gone
yeah.
a year ago, obviously, last season. And they're making a huge influence in the team at the moment. I'll tell you what I would do with Kyogo. I would keep him under wraps now for a couple of weeks get him rested, get him right, and get him into a situation, because the big game's coming up in January the 2nd. I think they have enough in them that they can go and win a few games leading into that now, with the confidence is edging through this team. But that's the big one. So don't have any risk with Kyogo, because they need him. He's the one that makes a difference at the end of the day.
Celtic players have just made their way across, and as they did, there was one fan came out from the north stand there, and he made his way across, and some of the stewards identified him and saw him coming, and they gave chase. I've got to say, I'm not sure that Tom English was actually watching there, but I think we need to sign the steward up for the Scottish International Rugby side, given the tackle he just put in. Down to Kenny with Anthony Ralston.
Anthony, how do you feel? This has been the most remarkable season so far for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've enjoyed every minute, playing every game, and the lead up to this, and in the league and stuff, I'm doing well as well. So I'm proud of all the boys today. They stepped out onto the park and they gave the fans something to celebrate.
You've had to really dig in. There have been some low points in your career, Anthony. I think you're a great example to any young player. Perhaps feels it's time that a club is maybe over. You dig in and you come again.
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely. You can't give up. You need to keep going in the right direction. You need to keep believing that you can do it. So I'm glad I've done that, and I've got the experiences now. So no, we're going to go celebrate now, if you don't mind.
Final question. What's it like under this manager?
It's brilliant. The boys are loving it. We've got success. I'm delighted for him as well. So, yep.
Fantastic. Enjoy your night. Thank you.
Yeah, very keen to get involved. I see Ange Postecoglou is there with the trophy. One or two other fans getting on the pitch, but being
Richard, I'll tell you what that reminds me of. We played Italy in New York, and one of the guys come on. I've never seen a burlier guy jump on him and give him an absolute tanking, the poor guy. And that's what it reminded me of there. It was a rugby tackle.
I was at that game. Yeah, I remember that. Absolutely. There have been a few. Anyway, look, it's one or two fans stupidly getting on the pitch but getting no closer to the players, which is what they seem to be trying to do. And Postecoglou is, I think what he's looking for now is to get as many of the coaching staff together. He wants to get a photograph with the whole coaching staff with the trophy. He is well and truly holding on to that piece of silverware as it gleams in the Hampden floodlights. It's clearly been a special, there's a huge beaming smile on his face as he reflects on the fact that he has just won his first trophy as Celtic manager. We'll hear from him, I'm sure, shortly. Kenny, the second half, as Willie and Tom were saying, so much better than the first. Celtic deserved winners in the end.
I think over the piece, Celtic were probably the better team. I think on the chances in the second half, Hibs could have nicked something at the end. They had 2 or 3 really good opportunities. The one that went off the post with the Nisbet header that fell to Hanlon, and then the good bit of play at the end to Porteous that gives Newell the opportunity, and then comes back to Porteous, who just couldn't quite guide his shot towards the goal good enough. But listen, it was a far better second half than it was the first half. There was not a lot of decent play. Yeah, there was moments in the first half, but there was no real quality. Second half, right from the off, Hibs got on the attacking fruit, far more attacking intent in the second half. And listen, we got a better game, and it was right to the end, right to the final whistle. There was chances, there was a little bit of controversy. Was the offside? Was it not offside? The penalty situations. The one thing for Hibs will be really disappointed is the first goal.
Right, well, we'll pick up on that in a bit or two. Let's get down to Kenny with Ange Postecoglou now.
I'm just waiting for that big smile to crack here. He doesn't give much away. There it is, Ange. Congratulations. How do you feel?
Yeah, look, it's all it's all a bit surreal, It's we've had a hell of a ride so far. From I guess the moment I arrived, we've had some real challenges, and just super proud of this group of players. They're just so resilient. Had enormous challenges right from the first day, and even today, they rose to them, and just so happy that they get the rewards for it.
It was a tight first half. When Hibs went ahead, so important for you to hit back really quickly.
Yeah, I think it was the first time they got into our box, and I thought we were it was tight, but I thought we were in control of the game, and but again, that's I said, whatever challenges put before this group of players, they find a way, and it's just, for me, you kind of work with footballers, but the gold comes in working with people, and these are special people.
I spoke with Nir Beaton there. He said he couldn't believe that Kyogo made the game today. He said he showed great heart, great character, great determination to make it. He said that gave the whole squad a huge lift.
Yeah, it's again, fantastic player, but what a person, he just had it in his mind he was going to play, and as much as we were kind of thinking it won't happen, he just made himself available, and he's not 100%, and to be honest, I don't know how he did it today, but he's a quality player and a quality person, and this football club and him were a match made in heaven, mate.
Yeah, I could see at the end there that huge embrace you had with him, and you've clearly got a very special relationship with him.
Just with him, just with all the players, because especially the guys that I've brought in, I'm bringing them in. I take responsibility for them. Kyogo, I brought from the other side of the world, and you just want them to do well, but they put so much into it that, like everything in life, as I keep saying to them, if you do the right things, you invest and you work hard, you'll get your returns.
How are you feeling? Just talk to us a bit about you coming to Scotland, coming to this football club, and just your emotions over the past few months.
Well, to be honest, I haven't had a chance to digest any of it, because it just feels from the moment I've arrived, there's just been things to do, mate. You know, and I've had my head down and just trying to do what I believe is the best things and the right things to set this football club back on the path of being the club it always wants to be. And I understood when I took the role that there was tremendous responsibility this year, particularly after last year, that this is not a football club that goes for a couple of years without success. And I haven't had, like I said, I haven't had a chance. What I do know is that I just feel privileged every day, driving into training and representing this football club. Mate, if you could, zap me back into the past, another 45 years ago when I was 10 years old, this is where I wanted to be standing.
In front of these fans as well. What are they like? They've got an incredible rapport with you already, Ange, haven't they?
Yeah, they're everything, mate. And my first task when I took the role was I wanted to give them hope. I couldn't guarantee success. I couldn't guarantee anything, but I wanted to give them hope. And I think they saw that from the first day. It hasn't been smooth, and we've had our ups and downs in terms of results. But I think I saw hope in, they saw hope in us and what we were trying to do. And I feel privileged, as I said, to be part of this football club.
Great stuff. Congratulations. Thank you, Ange.
Thank you.
Just sounded a little, dare I say it, almost a little emotional there at times, Ange. He kind of had, he's been a great interview. He's been great to listen to over the course of this season. Doesn't generally kind of crack in any way, shape or form. He's strong. Yeah.
He's a strong man, yeah. I listened. If he wasn't feeling any emotion now, he wouldn't be human. His first trophy at Celtic.
Look, I'm assuming that's a family member down there. He is just having the biggest hug.
He's definitely feeling emotion there, because that's a long embrace, and that's heartfelt, and it's a great day for him. A great day for his players. A great day for Kyogo, who is astonishing, really. As Postecoglou said there, comes over from the other side of the world, different league, different country, different players, different language, and absolutely hits the ground running from practically day one.
16 goals this season, joint top scorer in the country.
16 goals, 2 in the cup final, he's first. An absolutely astonishing first half season for Kyogo, right up there with any import that Celtic would have had over many years. It's a devastatingly good impact. And you factor in players, different country, different language. I keep going back to that. Different culture. Everything is different. I've been to Japan. The culture there it couldn't be any more different than it is here. So he has so many things to get used to. And yet,
our football pitches the similar size and shape.
Yeah, but it's not,
because that seems to be what he really does the business.
That's when he comes into his own. But everything about life is different, So it's not he's not a footballer 24 hours a day. It's just the new city, new country, so many things to get used to settle down family-wise, away from family, and yet he just does that. He just comes in, and it's like he's been here forever, and it's all a breeze, and he scores goals, he creates. He's a brilliant signing.
You've got to give Ange Postecoglou a huge credit for bringing that player here.
Massive.
I know he was coming from that side of the world himself, and then we were wondering how is he going to sign players, who's he going to sign, and that. But he's brought in a superstar, really, in the sense of Kyogo from the Celtics' perspective and from the fans' perspective. So you've got to give him huge credit that he's picked the right one.
I give him all. Obviously, you give both of them all the credit, because Postecoglou has spotted him, has brought him in, he's nurtured him, and he has turned him into this absolute icon of the support in a few months. Normally it takes a number of years to do that, but Kyogo has done it in a few months, and that's mad, actually, when you think about it.
Look, inevitably, cup final is all about the winners, and we've been reflecting ever since the full-time whistle went on Celtic. Going to be very interesting next little while for Hibs, Tom. David Gray, we don't even know if he's the future of the club. I mean, it may be that the new regime means a whole new coaching staff. No David Gray, no Craig Sampson. We just don't know what the situation's going to be. But certainly, the new chapter may well be very interesting.
Well, it will be very interesting no matter what happens. And you'd hope that David Gray is involved, because that second half performance, first half performance was fine. They weren't attacking in any sense, they didn't threaten at all, but they weren't under any pressure from Celtic. They defended very, very well. Second half they got their noses in front, and I mean, it's sickener that they couldn't hold on to that lead for longer and test Celtic, put Celtic under pressure, ask them more questions. But when you got for Kyogo and the predator that he is, it's very dangerous.
Yeah, he proved that, and it was to be a disappointing afternoon for Hibernian. David Gray is live with Kenny.
David, your thoughts on that game? Your side were right in it from start to finish today.
Yeah, obviously disappointment from my point of view, and I said this to the boys straight after the game there. Before the game we asked them to give us absolutely everything, and to have no regrets after the game, and if you can do that and you can come into the game and you give absolutely everything, that's all I can ask for as a coach. And I'm proud of the players for how much effort and how much they put into the game today. In
terms of the game plan, I'm guessing it went exactly how you'd hoped in that first half, contained Celtic, and then you get yourself in front. But it's a cardinal sin in football, isn't it? You just don't hang on to that lead for long enough.
Definitely. As you say about the way the game went, Celtic have always started very, very fast in the games this season, and I thought the boys done really well, took the information on board, and I thought they were fantastic, restricted Celtic to very few chances. I thought we lacked a little bit of belief, and said that to the boys at half time, that show a wee bit more quality and a little bit more belief in our own ability when we have the ball, rather than it changing over too quickly. And credit to the players. I thought, as you say, we started the second half really, really well, got the goal. I think, as you mentioned there, that's the big moments in games, that if you can just see through that little period after you've scored, the game completely changes. But it's disappointing from our point of view.
The goal was a great goal. You talk about desire, wanting to get there first. Paul Hanlon threw everything at that, didn't he?
Absolutely. Listen, it's an area we always felt that we're strong at. We've got players who like to attack the ball, and I was obviously delighted to see Paul get on the score sheet. He deserves it for how much he's given to this club, but how much he does every single day in the dressing room, and how well respected he is. I was delighted for Paul. I think from our point of view, the manner in which we lose the goals is always going to be sore at the minute, but as I say, the biggest thing for me is we always ask the players to give us absolutely everything, and every single player since myself and Eddie have been put in this position to prepare the team and look after the team, that they've given me absolutely everything. I'm very, very grateful for that. They've given me everything from the minute, in a very difficult situation, from the minute we were put in charge. They've given me absolutely everything, so I'm very grateful for that.
A couple of big calls perhaps went against you in the second half. Looked very, very tight for that Celtic first goal, and also a penalty shout for yourselves late on.
Yeah, I think the first one, it's hard to see well the smoke, to be honest. I think I've looked at it back, it's very hard to see. I think the second one, again, very poor defending from our point of view, but I don't believe we should have been defending a free kick anyway. Still, for the life of me, I've watched it back, I don't understand how that's a free kick, and if it is a free kick, how he then misses Ryan Porteous, the foul on Ryan Porteous in the penalty box, is beyond me. I've no idea how he can give that and not give the penalty. But listen, these are things that happen in games. It's not something we can do anything about now. It's happened. It just makes it a little bit harder to take.
Can you give us an insight? It's difficult before the game, I know that, but just how tough it has been, because I don't think I've ever seen such emotion from footballers when a manager leaves a club, and actually I would go as far as say anger from some of the players, and that's something you've had to deal with. You've had to deal with these emotions, get them ready, get them focused for this game today.
Yeah, I think it's always a difficult situation when any manager loses their job, or people lose their job. I think as players you feel a sense of responsibility, because usually when people lose their job it's a result of poor performances, poor results. So I think it was obviously the initial shock when it happens. It's never nice, and as you say, our job was then to make sure we got a reaction out of the players, and as I said before at the start of the interview, that they've given me absolute everything for the moment where I took over, and
I'm really grateful for that, and I think the most important thing is that they came here today and gave it absolute everything, and they've done that.
And just finally, for these fans who are now in their cars and their buses on their way home, any update at all on the managerial situation? Also your situation at the club. You're a legend here at Hibs, David. Do you know what the future holds for you?
No, listen, my future will be decided moving forward. I think we've got a job today was our job, and that was our full focus, and I was obviously delighted that the club made that decision really early this week, so I was able to let the players know that nothing would be happening until today. We had to get today out of the way. For all the fans that were here today, I thought they were absolutely outstanding for us again, as they always have been. Obviously gutted we can't send them back along the M8 with a trophy, but I think, as I say, my future and the future of the club will be decided in the coming days, I'm sure, and we'll react accordingly.
Thanks, David.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
David Gray, I think you've got to say he's carried himself very, very well, hasn't he?
Brilliantly, yeah. Yeah, it spoke really well. Pre-match spoke really well there. You can sense his frustration, but his pride. And you know, the second half they just got shaded. But his players gave everything. Second half they created lots of chances. It's just they didn't have the ruthlessness to put them away. They couldn't beat Joe Hart, but they had the chances. They might have had a penalty.
They should have had a penalty.
Yeah, should have had a penalty.
I mean,
but if that's a penalty, if the Portuguese one is a penalty, then the Greg Taylor one is a penalty. I would argue, Willie.
That was a blatant push. Starfelt, blatant push in the back, and that was a crucial time as well. And you might be right, Tom. It might have been 2 penalties, but I think if you're the defeated manager, then he's taken it really well. He hasn't made
very classy.
Too much of it. He's handled the situation.
We're almost there, so I want to just finish off in terms of winner. Just one thing, you talked about Kyogo Furuhashi settling in remarkably well. Would it be fair to say Carl Starfelt has a bit of settling in still to do?
Yeah, I think Stephen Welsh is a better defender. I mean, I don't know, Willie's the master.
Well, he's shaking his head, so...
Well, there is a bit of opportunity as well, where he gets himself taken right out of the game. He's got 2 opportunities to put the ball in the back of the net at the other end as well. He doesn't do that. He gives away the penalty. The straightforward header. You know, if you can't defend a kick out for the goalkeeper and just head it away instead of giving the corner, and then when he's given the corner away, he's got a man to pick up. It's Paul Hannon, and he doesn't pick him up properly. No.
Okay, right. But the big positive is Ange Postecoglou is up and running. Pat Borner, he's got his first trophy as Celtic manager, and you'll be hoping this gets... Well, they're in a hell of a run right now anyway. They've got the momentum going. They want to keep this going through to the winter break and then try for a real challenge in after then.
Yeah, you listen, from where they were to where they are now is night and day, and he's done it. He's come in. You could hear him talking about the players, the relationship he has with the players. And I think we talked about before the game. That's hugely important for any manager. If the players trust you and you trust them, and they go out and get performances, and they can get a trophy in the bag. The first trophy, the League Cup's always one of them at the start of the season. If you can get it, especially this year, when they have had such a bad year last year, to get that first trophy for them is absolutely critical. I think they'll go on from strength to strength. They need to get these injuries sorted out too. Another injury today again also. From that perspective, but they're in a good place, Richard. Really, really good place. And listen, from Hibs' perspective, I just want to say it. You know, they put up a good show in that second half today, and they could have easily got a couple of goals, and it might have been a different story, but they didn't. And then Celtic have won the trophy, and that's how the outcome it is.
Yep, they have indeed, guys. Thank you all very much indeed for your input. I hope you've all back home and been out and about, perhaps doing your Christmas shopping, enjoyed listening into all the action. It wasn't a classic first half, but my goodness, the game certainly livened up in the second, and when the dust settled, it was a double from Kyogo Furuhashi that settled Celtic's 20th success in the League Cup. They've won 5 of the last 6 tournaments, and they are up and running this season. And under Ange Postecoglou, a first major piece of silverware. Sportsound will be on the magazine programme on Monday night. We'll have all the live action on Wednesday, where there is the final round of Premiership fixtures, 3 of them ahead of Christmas. From me, Richard Gordon, and the rest of the Sportsound team, enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, and do stay tuned and enjoy your requests with Gary Innes.
Your requests with Gary Innes on BBC Radio Scotland.
Ho, ho, ho! How are you all this gorgeous Sunday evening? Well, the countdown is well and truly on, with only 6 sleeps left until the big fella comes tearing down our chimneys. Or however he gets into your own home, of course. And I don't know about you, but I can't wait. And so we start this evening's show with some festive cheer and let Bob Dylan take it away with Must Be Santa.